video is presented by the EA Creator Network. Thanks to EA for letting me get early access to capture this footage for you guys. Now, this is a work-in-progress build, and what's being shown is subject to change. What's going on, everybody? C4, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're here to kick off our Madden 24 rebuild season with the Indianapolis Colts, a squad that is very promising entering the 2023 NFL season. I think following a very good 2023 NFL draft, expectations and excitement for the Colts were as high as it's been in years until about a week ago. We got two problems we need to address before we go any further in this video. One is the quarterback dilemma. There has been a void since the sheriff has left town, and there has been zero luck in the quarterback room for the Indianapolis Colts until the 2023 NFL draft, when they decided to draft an absolute alien out of the University of Florida. Anthony Richardson is going to be one of the most hyped up prospects in quite some time, not only in real life, but in Madden 24. We just have not seen a quarterback player that is 6'4", 245 pounds, that as a rookie is coming in with 95 throw power, 80 break sack, 91 speed, 92 acceleration, and just the raw potential that Anthony Richardson has. And while there is definitely a ways to go in terms of the technical side of things for him playing the quarterback position, I can tell you right now, I watched every game that he's ever played in college. There is going to be some growing pains, to say the least, with Anthony Richardson. But if you could get this guy firing on all cylinders, you're going to be able to add another name to the sheriff, Peyton Manning. Andrew Luck. I think Anthony Richardson has the potential to be the next great Indianapolis Colts quarterback, and that is what we're going to do here today. But that was problem one, has been the quarterback room for the Colts. Problem two just kind of reared up its ugly head about a week ago, and that is the fact that Jim Irsay is slowly starting to trend in the direction of like a Jerry Jones, an owner that is overstepping his boundaries, kind of putting his foot in his own mouth, and for some reason trying to irritate the few good players he has on his squad. Coming out and saying that he's not going to pay Jonathan Taylor, Jim Irsay is very much on the bandwagon of you don't pay running backs in the NFL. But I think when you're a roster like the Colts, when not very expensive roster, not like you have a lot of salary cap tied down, you have a quarterback now on a rookie quarterback deal, so that is going to give you a massive amount of salary cap to really build a team around that young quarterback. And with someone like Anthony Richardson that is going to need some help, he's going to have some growing pains, no doubt about it. Having a strong run game is an absolute asset. Like, the Colts were a better landing spot than other teams for Anthony Richardson because you have this great run game of Jonathan Taylor, who's one of the best young running backs in the NFL. And here you have this owner that's already bringing him in onto a bus, having a private meeting, and basically saying, you are worthless to me. Even though when you look at the rest of the skill position spots here for the Indianapolis Colts, sure, you got Michael Pittman, and I mean, we'll break down the room. You got Josh Downs from that draft class, 2023. Alec Pierce is a developing option. Jonathan Taylor's your offense. Until you can see what Anthony Richardson can do, this man is not, like, out of anybody on the offense, the one guy you do not want to upset. The one guy that you want to be in their good graces so he can play good football for you. So that is something we're going to have to decide. Do we act in the best interest of our owner, which is, I'm going to tell you right now, we'll put him on the trade block because that is what we've inherited when we try to rebuild the Colts. Jonathan Taylor's already there. And unless, I'll tell you right now, an offer that blows me away. I'm coming in to rebuild this team to win some championships, and I find it very hard right now, and I think most Colt fans would agree, very, very difficult for this team to be good without Jonathan Taylor running the ball for them. So outside of the running back room, look at the rest of the skill position spots. We got Michael Pittman Jr., who is our acting wide receiver number one. Now, he is in an area where he's going to be looking to get a contract extension sooner than later, and we need to see it. I think he's a good possession receiver. Obviously, brings a lot of jump ball traits at 6'4", 225 pounds. But I'm going to have to see how he gets on with Anthony Richardson. If Anthony Richardson and him become, inseparable, become our little bit of Peyton Manning, Marvin Harrison, and then maybe we get out of Josh Downs, who I'm a little bit of that Reggie Wayne sprinkled in there, and we can try to repeat some of that history and success that the Colts have had with great quarterbacks and wide receivers, then I'm going to have no issue paying him. But something that I'm going to be putting my foot down here in Madden 24 for our rebuilds is we're going to stop paying for overall, and we're going to start paying for production. So we got to see what Michael Pittman can do here. We got Isaiah McKenzie, nice role player coming up from the Buffalo Bills. Alec Pierce, great weapon at 6'3". He comes in with 92 speed, 94 acceleration. Decent, catching for, he's a solid player. He's a guy that would definitely benefit from having a breakout year and getting a dev trade or two, because the longer he stays on a normal dev, the limited that his ceiling is going to become. But I think, you got Brashad Perriman who brings some speed, but I really do like the selection of Josh Downs. I've watched a lot of North Carolina football, especially with Drake May. That is a quarterback to keep an eye out on. And I just, you look at this Colts room, it's like there's some upside for sure. Helps that Josh Downs is a rookie with a dev trait. But you gotta, do they have that X factor? Do they have that Marvin Harrison, that guy that is not only going to elevate Anthony Richardson, but the guy that's going to elevate the entirety of this squad, the guy that's going to be truly unstoppable? Do we have an unstoppable wide receiver? Top teams nowadays have unstoppable wide receivers. The Chiefs have Travis Kelce. You have the Eagles, who have A.J. Brown. Justin Jefferson, look what he does for Kirk Cousins. Makes Kirk Cousins look elite on a week-in, week-out basis. We never saw Josh Allen really live up to his full potential until they got Stephon Diggs. And you look at what they got building down there in Cincinnati. Like, a lot of the top teams have great wide receiver rooms, and it's a copycat league. These rebuilds are going to be no different than trying to copycat in the league. And do we have enough here in this wide receiver room to say that, it can hold up and it can compete against some of the other top teams in the NFL, let alone specifically in the AFC? So that is something that we're going to find out. They have a lot of bodies here in the tight end room. I'll tell you, we're going to go with Jelani Woods as our starter. He does have the dev trait. Really, really interesting profile. The Colts have just been drafting freaks. 6'7", 250 pounds. Does have the star dev with 85 speed, 87 acceleration. Still developing a little bit as a receiver, but it's a solid foundation that you're trying to build around there. As we go to the offensive line, this is where we're going to have a little bit of shuffling before we get into the video, because I think right now it's all about min-maxing. How can we maximize the talent that we currently have across this offensive line to give us the best 5 starters? We have Raymond here entering his second year. Great athlete. I mean, him and Jake Witt. Jake Witt, if you followed anything about the 2023 draft, you look at the RAS scores, which is kind of grades how the rookies of a given draft class are athletically speaking, just on athletic performance. Witt was one of the highest rated athletes on the offensive line in this year's class. So him and Raymond give us a lot of athleticism at left tackle. Quentin Nelson, coming off an injury, when healthy though, is one of the best guards in the NFL. Very expensive as well, so we're going to need him to play at a high level and justify that contract. Is, if not, a new feature here in Madden 24 is that you can always try to go down here and restructure a contract of a player for a variety of reasons, and that he might be one of those top candidates for us to do that. Ryan Kelly's a solid veteran center. Now, the right-hand side of the offensive line is where things get a little dicey for the Indianapolis Colts, and here's what I'm going to do. We're going to take Braden Smith, who was our current starting right tackle, 82 with a start at only 27 years old. However, he was drafted originally as a guard. Brings guard tackle versatility. So what we are going to do is we are going to switch him inside to guard, so that then allows us to use another one of these big-time freaks that the Colts drafted in 2023, and that is a BYU offensive tackle, Blake Freeland. 6'8", 300 pounds, brings a 69 overall rating. It's not a bad starting point, but he has a lot of tight end athleticism. 81 acceleration, 73 speed. We got 83 strength. A lot of just solid, across the board, very solid starting points for his run blocking, for his pass blocking. There is some upside here. So I would rather, in my mind, go with the inexperience at right tackle, but a lot more upside, and keep Freeland there, and then kick Braden Smith on the inside, because I think Freeland has a higher ceiling than, say, going with a Danny Pinner or a guy named Will Fries. Even though that's an awesome name for an offensive lineman at right guard. So I think that little shuffle there is going to give us the best starting offense year one for the Colts. Previewing the defense, starting with the pass rush. I think outside of the quarterback position, the pass rush has been where the Colts just have struggled to find any form of consistency or playmaking ability. And right now, the best we got is Kwity Paye. There's still some upside there for sure. He's only 24 years old, does have a dev trait, and I really do appreciate, because it definitely means more in Madden than, unfortunately, it has in real life. The Colts are just drafting athletes. Kwity Paye, 85 speed, 86 acceleration, 86 strength, 88 agility. We can work with that. We can develop that. We're going to be able to put the technical side to pair with that athleticism, and hopefully he goes off. I think there definitely is a lot of potential for Kwity Paye to develop into a really good pass rusher for us here in this rebuild. You got Ibukam on the other side, but again, you're not seeing a whole lot of upside. Unfortunately, a lot of normal devs. But as much as Anthony Richardson was the freak of nature on the offensive side from the 2023 class, you could say the defensive side goes to Tomi Adebaware out of Northwestern. 6'2", almost 285 pounds. Not an awesome starting spot at 6'6" overall with a normal dev. But when you look at the ratings, you're like, well, definitely something here. 89 speed, 92 acceleration, 84 strength, 79 agility. For a guy that's going to be a tweener, we might be able to move him to defensive tackle. We might be able to have him play a little bit of defensive end. He's going to get a lot of snaps. We're going to try to force feed this guy's opportunities to develop into a big-time player for us, because the athletic potential makes him like the what if this guy can become good in this rebuild is gigantic, more so than even, you know, playing Ibukam. This is a rebuild, early rebuild. Someone like Ibukam, that could be a guy that we shift off to see if we can try to improve the linebacking room, which we will see in just a second is not particularly good. Look at the rest of the defensive line. The D-tackle combo is great. Grover Stewart's one of the better run stuffers in the NFL. Then you have DeForest Buckner, who is our lone X factor on this squad. 29 years old, so that's a little bit annoying that he's probably kind of at his ceiling. And yes, in Madden 24, there are regression sliders, but this being, you know, early access, that is definitely something that's going to need a lot of different testing, and that's kind of out of my price range right now to be, you know, finding the money spot for getting regression in line so that old players still can perform and not just get completely turned into dust once they turn 30 years old or 31 or 32 years old. That is an awesome addition into Madden 24, but that's going to be something that's going to take a little bit of time to find the money zone, find the sweet spot for that. So hopefully we don't see a whole lot of regression because DeForest Buckner and Grover Stewart are getting up there a little bit, but both still very good players. Now, I talked about the linebacking core. We have Shaquille Leonard, who, first of all, should he be higher than a star dev? When I saw it, I was like, I want to... I was surprised he's not a superstar. I mean, when he's on the field, I mean, maybe the injuries. I feel like the last 2 years hasn't really been on the field a whole lot. But when he is on the field, he's one of the most turnover-forcing linebackers in the NFL. It feels like every game he plays, he has either a forced fumble, fumble recovery, interception, something crazy like that. And I'm glad that he is still here on our team. He's getting up there in age as well. A lot of our key defensive players on this Colts team are late 20s. So it's, you know, for a 5-year rebuild, not the best age. I'm not telling you guys anything that's new information. You want a team that's all, you know, guys 25 or under, ideally. At least your key players. Not necessarily the case here for the Colts. And it doesn't get much better for the rest of the linebacking room, as there is not a lot here at all. You know, they lost Bobby Okereke in free agency to the Giants. Didn't really replace him. So that might be something we can try to improve before we get into year number 1. Looking at the secondary, you got Kenny Moore, who, kind of like everyone else we just highlighted on the defense side of the ball, he's 28 years old. So he's at that ceiling, if you will, but still one of the best slot corners in the NFL. 84 overall, big-time player, team captain. He's going to be versatile for us. We got Julius Brents in the draft, the guy that was getting a little bit of talk as like a Tyreek Woolen 2.0. 6'3", 200 pounds. Comes with a hidden dev, which I love. That is awesome. 88 speed, 76 zone, but you get 95 acceleration, 94 agility, 81 press, 96 jumping. There's a lot of tools in this rookie's wheelhouse to develop into a really, really nice corner for this Colts organization. Oh, they just got kind of another one in Darius Rush, the rookie out of South Carolina, 69 overall. Doesn't have the dev trait, but pretty great athlete, all things considered. 6'2", 93 speed, 93 acceleration, 85 agility. We got a lot of guys here that are going to... It's a rebuild, man. I'm not having any expectations right away that we're going to hit the ground running and going to be winning divisional titles and competing for the Super Bowl. So we're going to have a little bit of leeway to be playing the Julius Brents, the Darius Rushes, the Adebowares, whose ratings might not be like starting our best rating players available, but more so the long-term game. Where those guys are going to be playing them now in years 3 and 4. I think we got to look at big picture for a lot of positions here, especially on the Colts defense. Safety room, we got Julian Blackmon and Rodney Thomas with some solid depth there. Julian Blackmon, 75 with a star dev. I mean, it's almost like every Colts starter here. Even on like the offensive line has 90 speed. You got Nick Cross at strong safety, big time athlete as well. No dev trait there, but almost 215 pounds, 92 speed, 96 acceleration. A lot of fun guys. There is definitely a lot of fun players to utilize here on the Colts roster. And with that, speaking of fun players, there's a new feature I want to talk about. Madden 24 has brought back in the training camp minigames, and I just really want to hop in and sling it with Anthony Richardson. So let's go into target passing. It's probably going to be terrible. I haven't even practiced this for like a week. I'm sure I'm going to get gold. 100% I'm going to get gold with a 70 overall quarterback that doesn't have great accuracy. I'm sure of it. So we're going to try out target passing here with Anthony Richardson. Now, the bad thing about target passing drills, and it's something that, because it's an early build, hopefully gets fixed, this is the only route you get. It's a terrible route for where a lot of these targets are. I mean, I know I'm not the best Madden player, but it's just like, okay, like that's a good one. That's a great starting spot. I can smash those easily. Easy smash. Boom, we're going to go another one here to the rookie, Josh Downs. We are starting on fire, but wait till you see some of the longer ones. Like, half of these routes don't even go that depth. But we're going to crush it. Boom. Oh, he sails it. Still a nice pass downfield to Michael Pittman, but not what we were looking for. All All right, let's smash there. Get to the tight end, Jelani Woods. So Jelani Woods again, just quick throw, kind of cheesing it a little bit to get the score. I mean, that's also a combination that we want to work. We need Jelani Woods to be that safety net for Anthony Richardson. I'm glad they're getting these reps in here. We're going to go Michael Pittman on the outside. We're actually kind of slinging it right now. We got bronze. I have no idea how you get gold with this being like the only routes that you're kind of running here. But we're going to try and get this last one, which we do. Multiplier. This is hard. This is a tough one. I'll tell you right now, we go into punting, I'm getting gold. But for throwing for Anthony Richardson, we'll take bronze to start it out. The quarterback one is done. Who knows if we have Jonathan Taylor beyond this week. So let's get in on the rushing attack and just see how valuable Jonathan Taylor is to this Colts squad. We are going for gold. 55 million points. All right, we need 55,000 points. We need to get as many touchdowns as possible. Maybe style points on the way celebrating. But the big thing is going to be just stacking touchdowns. We're pretty much going to need a touchdown every time we touch the football here. We want any hope of getting gold. So it might not be the most exciting because we just got to try to be efficient. And efficiency is never... I mean, come on. If you're a Colts fan and you grew up during the Peyton Manning era, efficiency over excitement is pretty much how to summarize the Peyton Manning era of the Colts. And that's what we're going to try to do here. 2 touchdowns. Let's go. I don't like anytime we run towards Shaq Leonard just because it gives him a chance of getting a stop. 57 just every day, man. He's getting cut. And this is one of those ones where, like, we are also playing with a little chip on our shoulder. We want Jonathan Taylor to just show how damn good he is. He's stunting on his team. You know that old man Jim Irsay is watching on the sideline. And I want Jonathan Taylor to be like, tell that old man to get on the bus and watch the film of me during the running drills here today and tell me that I am not worth literally top-tier running back money. Tell me it's not worth paying the running backs. I just embarrassed your linebacking core. So we're not going to hot dog it too much because I think time's of the essence. We just need many touchdowns we can get in 16 seconds because I don't really think the multiplier for going for style points is really helping us out too much here. So we got the silver. We got 10 seconds. We have a chance for 2 more touchdowns. Let's get our blocks here. Celebrate. We're at 44. Oh, to the house. Go. By 5 points, it still counts. Pay Jonathan Taylor. Again, the goal, we got 2,000 XP and a skill point for Jonathan Taylor, which as an 89 overall, bring him up to a 90 overall. So I think mini games are awesome. I think it's something that a lot of people have been screaming for to bring back into franchise mode. And it's always going to help. It's always going to be worth playing all those because you have fun. They're fun. They're fun. It's something that is nostalgic for a lot of us that grew up playing the older Maddens. The fact that, like, just like this, you get a gold medal, you grind to get that gold medal, you get just straight up 1 base overall point for one of your best players. You don't have to worry about, especially when you get the older players, you get guaranteed skill points. So if you have an older veteran that takes 50,000 XP to go up 1 overall point, but you get a gold medal in a drill, you're going to get that 1 overall point right away. So there's a lot of benefit in your Madden 24 rebuilds before every year. Taking as many of those training camp games as you can. Do them all and get those improvements for your squad. Oh, let's go! Another one. All right, we're going to go through the trench battle. This is one of the best ones. We're going to go with the rookie Adebaware, the freak of nature athlete, and we're going to see if his athleticism can help him out during these drills because obviously the technique, not the best. We got big old Braden Smith. We got to run through Quentin Nelson, which we did. Now we got Braden Smith. Hit him with the spin. We run right past him, and we destroy Yak. Get him! Better count. Bronze right out the bat. It wasn't pretty, but it counted. Get off me. Get out of here. 78. Quentin Nelson. Throws Quentin Nelson. He gets taken out by, like, the death spins. Those are the things you get in the dungeon. Oh, my God. We're getting jammed up here. The Super Mario dungeons. Those are usually fireballs. Lava. Oh, my God. They're okay. Still got 6 seconds. Let's hustle. Hit the spin move. Look at the hustle. Let's go. Get out of here. Get out of here. Get out of here. Here we go. Look how fast I am. Look how fast. Throws Quentin out. Get out of here. They're seeing the potential. Quentin Nelson's never seen anything like that. Oh, my God. What's in the Gatorade here? They're spiked. Jim Irsay has lost it and he's spiking the Gatorade margarita. Boom! Attaboy! All day. Huge for his development. I'm going to run out with him every year. Right away, we're going to pump those points into Speed Rusher, bringing him up to a 67 overall. Get a nice boost, agility, finesse, pursuit, and tackle. We got another one of our big-time rookies in the DB battle. Let's see what Julius Brents can do. Yeah, there we go. Finally, something that's not designed for me to fail. Get out of here. Get out of here. I'll run it for you. Bring out the whole ocean. You can't beat me. Smash him. Do I get bonus points for hit stick? Pick six. That's pick six. That's back to the house pick six. I like to think that's OPI, be honest with you, but we'll take silver. Still good enough for a skill point. And with Brents, we'll make him into a scheme fit, bring him up to a 75, but pump those into man-to-man coverage. Nice acceleration boost, giving him 96. Awareness, play rec, and press. So on top of all the mini games that you get to do at the beginning of training camp, you also get to do mini games every single week. So obviously our focus players are going to be the big-time rookies. We got Josh Downs, our starting right tackle in Freeland, and Anthony Richardson. So on top of just being able to sim and focus train them and get extra XP, you will be able to select another mini game to run back, which can give you a nice additional, 700 to 500 XP if you can get silver or gold. One of the big pieces of business we want to handle before the end of the preseason is to figure out what we're doing with Jonathan Taylor. We know Jim Irsay, the owner's stance on Jonathan Taylor, but me acting as the general manager, I want to keep Jonathan Taylor. I want to find a way to, cool the fire off on that bridge and mend that bridge. Shane Steichen, the new head coach here in Indianapolis, coming from Philadelphia, knows the value of surrounding your project developmental quarterback with star talent. We saw that with Jalen Hurts, with Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown that took the next level to his game. Jonathan Taylor is going to be that weapon for Anthony Richardson. Yes, it's at an unvalued position, but I think me and Shane Steichen are on the same page. We want to try to keep Jonathan Taylor. But to appease Mr. Irsay, we're at least going to see what kind of offers we could get for Jonathan Taylor here on the trade block. And obviously, as you can see, there's a lot more trade slots now, which is definitely a needed improvement. Go to the trade offers here. Oof. It's a generous trade from the Denver Broncos, offering us an X-Factor corner. That's a realistic trade, Tampa. Devin White's unhappy with his contract. 2 undervalued positions, running back and linebacker. We'd also be able to pick up a couple additional picks. But, I mean, again, why would I'd rather keep Jonathan Taylor. Jonathan Taylor would mean more to this team than having another good linebacker. Hollywood Brown, that could be a trade. Probably wouldn't see the Chiefs offer Creed Humphrey. Oh, C.D. Lamb from the Dallas Cowboys. Imagine Irsay and Jerry Jones trying to make this call together. Both of them just can't figure out how to get on speakerphone because they're 79, 85 years old, however old they are. Or they go on Zoom, and they're just the webcams aren't turned. Oh, whatever. We won't really explore that trade. Goddard from Philly, probably not. That would be decent value. We do need help at tight end. You probably wouldn't see an offer like this from Sewell. Renfro, he's on the trade block from the Raiders. That could be a nice get. In terms of realistic trades, this would be the one that if I had to pull the trigger and move Jonathan Taylor, I would. But again, my plan right now is not to trade Jonathan Taylor. And I guess if it happens in real life, we can run back another Colts rebuild with this situation of Jonathan Taylor getting traded. But the one thing I do want to talk about here, it's a little bit of a rant. Piece me here for just 1 second. So many people will always try to cheese the trade system or cheese these trade offers, and then they'll run to social media being like, classic Madden, look, I traded Jonathan Taylor for an X-Factor Pat Surtain and a bunch of picks. Madden's so bad. This is, okay. And maybe in a perfect world, you wouldn't have these ridiculous trades. But I always feel like the people that do this are the people that are like, look, I traded for Quentin Nelson, and all it cost me was a 68 overall wide receiver and 2 fourth-round picks. It's okay, you're making those trades. No one's forcing you to make those trades. You're I'm going to make a really unrealistic trade. I'm going to manipulate the system, and then I'm going to complain on Twitter or Reddit about how unrealistic Madden franchise mode is. I always hate those things. It's you're doing it. It's you're stepping on the rake and being who put that rake there for me to step on? Look how dumb that rake is. No, you're the one that's putting yourself in that situation. If you wanted to do a franchise mode where your goal was trading Jonathan Taylor for the best player possible, take that Denver Broncos trade. If you want to do a rebuild where you want to keep it realistic, that's how you want to enjoy it and have fun, then you take a Tampa Bay Bucks offer, a totally reasonable trade. But, and rent, man, just just don't fish for things to complain about. There's always a lot of valid complaints in Madden franchise mode, but the trade finder and making dumb trades and trying to blame it on Madden, that's just something. I want to get a linebacker on our roster, and I think like out of the top available ones on the trade block, I don't want to go out on my own way to try to like cheese an offer. We have Marvin Harrison here, who's 25.73, but I think Chad Muma, who was like, it was just interesting when the Jags, they got they just got too much at linebacker in one offseason. So we're going to see if we can flip probably our best piece that I'm willing to move right now, which is Samson Ebukam, 28 years old, pass rusher. So that way there just lets us go with the young buck Adebaware. And it's a need. It's in the top 5 needs there for the Jags. They're looking for a defensive end, a pass rusher to come in and help out their depth. So we're going to see if we can get Muma for Ebukam. We're able to get that one accepted, and Muma is going to be a day 1 starter for us. We're going to bump him up, second-year player out of Wyoming, to be our star middle linebacker. There are 2 pieces of business I want to address before we get into week 1 of the regular season here in year 1 of our Colts rebuild. Because this is our first Madden 24 franchise video, let's talk about the talent trees. I've gone in and updated the talent trees. Now your head coach, OC, DC, all have 3 talent trees instead of 2. So it gives you a lot more to do. It lets you, I guess the easiest way is, here's an example. For the secure the line, you can commit immediately to the left-hand side and you get all pass block power, run block power upgrades for your offensive lineman, or you go to the other side and get finesse. So like it's really a good way to fine-tune your roster if you really like to commit to your scheme fits and having your players be scheme fits. And I like that. Anytime you get a little bit more meat on the bone, you have a little bit of a slow burn to complete your talent tree. Like in last year's Madden, you could probably fill out your talent tree by the end of year 2, year 3, which, I mean, if you're playing every single game, sure, that's going to feel more than enough of a grind. But like if you're doing rebuilds, if you're just burning through seasons, it kind of just made it like a foregone conclusion. Like, I'm just going to have so many points. I'm going to spend, unlock. You didn't really have to think about it. But now, with it being flushed out, you do have to think about it. You can prioritize, making your scheme fit. You can prioritize where your team is weak at. So what we have here with Shane Steichen, we're going to kind of work our way down here a little bit. And I think we should try to work our way. I mean, there's still the familiar faces. You're going to want to get 3 out of 3 on after-school tutoring. You're going to want to get down here and get the final piece, which helps your XP earn rate. And then it's just, you want to prioritize the strengths and weaknesses of your squad. We got Anthony Richardson here, so we are definitely going to be spending points on pocket passing and developing our quarterback. But right now, I do want to kind of get more so the whole squad here. So we're going to slowly start to spend our way once we get more points and try to get after-school tutoring. But the talent trees being flushed out, that's a win for me for Madden 24 franchise. The final piece of business, because this has to get done before week 1, is this is when you can then edit your upcoming draft class. Now, this is going to be a realistic rebuild because there's no real draft classes. I'm just going to modify whatever players we draft into real college players that we can then import to the squad. But this is when you can decide how strong, how weak you want your draft class to be by every single position. Now, my plan is to have a video dropping today or tomorrow, maybe 2 different videos. One will be exploring what does a very weak draft class look like? What kind of players do you get? Is it comically bad? Is it cupcake type bad? Or is it just toned down a little bit? And what does a very strong draft class look like? Are you going to be getting 9 X factors, bunch of guys that are going to be 85 plus? But for me and most of the rebuilds that I'm going to be running, like all of my rebuilds that I'm going to be running, unless it's some sort of theme challenge rebuild, we're just going to keep it as is on normal. Now to wrap up the preseason, we do have a training camp standout. I hope it is one of our young rookies. That would be pretty cool. Maybe even a lot back. It's Kwity Paye. We needed to hype him up a little bit. He is, as it stands right now, our best pass rusher. So we're going to funnel some of these points towards the power move, the finesse move, and help himself. +3 power, +3 finesse to become the pass rusher we need him to be this season. You click the video. You know who I want to get. You know who we're going to get. We got to make him. And that is the role right there. Top 2 wide receivers that were generated. That we're just going to change the name. No rating mods. This is like old school. Back in the day when we used to do rebuilds and you couldn't have custom draft classes. So either they're both built like him too. So we're getting them. We're going to find a way to get him. Either we're going to suck enough to get this guy or we're going to find a way to get this guy. Since all eyes are on Anthony Richardson, let's make a big deal over his debut in the NFL. I am honestly, you got to be realistic. Knowing where he is at a quarterback, I want to see flashes. So let's beat the Jags, get him 2+ touchdowns and a nice little boost to start his NFL career off with. And in his first ever NFL game, Anthony Richardson, humbling experience. 227 yards, had 1 interception, got sacked 5 times. And it's a divisional rival. Knowing what we got, I mean, he did get a rushing touchdown, which at least there's some positive there. We got Jonathan Taylor back on the field. We had Josh Downs be our leading receiver, but not exactly what you want to see out of Anthony Richardson. Would love to see here 8 touchdowns. This guy's the next freak. Got a ways to go. This season has not been the best, but we did get a nice victory here week 6 over a nice divisional rival in the Jacksonville Jaguars, 35-32. In a game that we saw Anthony Richardson get Offensive Player of the Week. 5 touchdowns. So at least we're seeing the upside. Obviously, we've lost a lot of games. Anthony Richardson has some ups, some downs, some booms, some busts. But when he booms, he can get 5 touchdowns in a given week, which is massive. And we get a nice little upgrade here for both Josh Downs, who I hope slowly is becoming our wide receiver 1, because that's how I envision him. And, really how I want to build my team, like the Philadelphia Eagles, where you have 2 wide receiver 1s. You have Josh Downs and Michael Pittman, who we are going to have to figure out if we want to pay him, much like Philadelphia has A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. And we also got the nice upgrade here for Anthony Richardson. Now, what I've been trying to do is build him towards our scheme fit. He already has the athletic traits, which is very similar to what Jalen Hurts had under Shane Steichen. The athletic traits are there, but we need to get him to hone in. We need to work on the technical side, so that's why I have no problem spending his points here into field general. Might not be immediate overall bumps, but it's going to benefit where his biggest weaknesses are as we continue to develop. I don't even know what his dev trait is right now. So right before the trade deadline, we kind of need to be sellers at this point, and I threw Grover Stewart up on the trade block. The best bid that I got was from the Cincinnati Bengals, who have some interest, and I imagine pairing Grover Stewart up with DJ Reader. That is a whole lot of run defense. So we're going to throw in the veteran Mo Cox. His tight end is a need, and we're going to try to get returned Cam Taylor-Britt, 23 years old, does have a start at corner, and we're going to try to get some nice picks here with a 3rd and 5th round pick this draft and a future 4th round pick. It does sting to lose Grover Stewart, but he's going to be 30 in a contract year. Get value while we can, because by the time that our Colts team is going to be competitive, we're going to have a lot more value in Cam Taylor-Britt if he develops into a starting corner than we would Grover Stewart, who'd be like a 78 normal around that point. Now, if we ship Grover Stewart, DeForest Buckner, he's also not really at a great age for us in terms of where we're going to be competing at in this rebuild, but the offers for him are a lot less desirable. Maybe, yeah, we could finesse the Bears for Jalen, but that's a little bit on the outside of realism because the Bears are much like us in a little bit of a rebuild, so we'll hold on to Buckner for the time being. Also, at this point, we're going to set our focus scouting for the National Scout, and we really do want to key in on those 2 Ohio State wide receivers in the draft, so we are going to prioritize focus scouting the wideouts. After a bad loss, everyone pretty much understands where we are at year 1. It is very much a rebuild, but we need to have some form of momentum here in terms of our in-house signings because there are a lot of players that I would like to keep. I mean, look so much at the depth, not so much there. I think a lot of those guys are replaceable to a certain extent. Isaiah McKenzie, I did try to throw him up on the trade block, wasn't getting any bids, and he's still a valuable return man for us for this season, but not really in our long-term plans. Julian Blackmon is a nice safety. 25 years old, 76 with a dev trait, and it's not going to cost us an arm and a leg to keep him here in the building, and he's really interested in signing. So I think at this point, we'll give him a 4-year deal, keep him for the remainder of the rebuild, and that is an affordable safety that still has room to grow and develop. We have Kenny Moore. Kenny Moore and Shaq Leonard were the 2 players where they also kind of fit into that Grover Stewart mold of like, yeah, they identify as Colts. Colt fans kind of like them, but they also are kind of veterans at that point. Like, would they really want to buy into a rebuild? I kind of thought Kenny Moore and Shaq Leonard a little bit more so than Grover Stewart kind of fit what we want to keep in the team. For Kenny Moore, I would like him on a 3-year deal. He is a slot corner, so those guys tend to age a little bit better than an outside guy that like really relies on his speed. So we're going to come in with a respectable offer here for Kenny Moore. We'll go 3 years, $42 million, get him till he's 31, and he loves the deal. He wants to stay a part of this Colts organization. But now we got the 2 big expensive ones, Jonathan Taylor and Michael Pittman. Now, we already put our foot in the sand here. We are keeping Jonathan Taylor. We are going to be fired if this does not work out. But for Jonathan Taylor, he's just too damn good. I know you don't pay running backs, but when you are a team who is so reliant on, like, your run game, which the Colts are, like, it's one of those things where it's absolutely puzzling when you look at the New York Giants paying Daniel Jones because you kind of have to, and then not wanting to pay Saquon when you understand, like, okay, I just feel like there's certain teams that have the luxury, like my beloved Philadelphia Eagles, where we don't need to pay running backs. We have such a good offensive line. Any running back's going to be productive. And then you have these other teams that, like, you need that run game. You need that star player in your backfield, or your offense is just going to be 3 and out, 3 and out. I feel like the Giants fall into that territory, not to catch a stray if you're a Giant fan watching this, but I also feel like the Colts kind of fall into this territory. So we're going to start the bid here. 5 years, $67.5 million for Jonathan Taylor. And look at that. The new GM, the new head coach. We rebuilt that bridge. This is not only a rebuild of the Colts. We built that bridge between Jonathan Taylor and the Colts organization. We get him to sign. The last one up is Michael Pittman. No interest. Really not happy here. So we're going to have to start at least with a player-friendly deal. We'll go 8.5 and 8 as our opening bid. Now, because we do really want to target a wide receiver in the first round, might not be the end of the world if we can't come to terms with a long-term extension with Michael Pittman. But in my head, how I'm envisioning this offense, you'd have Michael Pittman. We'll have an unnamed Ohio State wide receiver, then Josh Downs in the slot. Like, that would be the offense I would love to have here in Indy. And we get Michael Pittman on a big-time deal. We throw the checkbook all around. We sign all of our top targets. We still have $30 million plus whatever we get at the end of the season to spend on the open market. So I think we're in a pretty good spot. So we've had our dev traits unveiled on the offense. Both Anthony Richardson and Josh Downs are star dev. Josh Downs just a little past midway point up to his 76 star. Anthony Richardson playing pretty good football, even though we're on a losing team. He is a 73 star. But the reason why we bring up Anthony Richardson and a star dev, I, like maybe some of you, maybe more inclined, if you're a Gators fan, thought there might be a chance that it's a superstar. But we have an opportunity after a competitive loss against the best team, I think, right now in the sim. They were 11, now they're 12-1, and the Bengals 24-21 in a loss. We did get a breakout scenario here, and it's a winnable game against the Pittsburgh Steelers for Anthony Richardson to gain that superstar dev. So Shane Steichen speaking to the media, expecting big things from his quarterback. We throw 1 or fewer interceptions and have 350 scrimmage yards or 4 total touchdowns for Anthony Richardson, and we get him up to the superstar dev that my biased Florida Gator fandom thinks he should have. I think with the potential, with the ceiling of Anthony Richardson, I absolutely think you should give this guy a superstar dev. They didn't, but let's see if we can earn it. It's unlikely. 35-20. We fall to Kenny Pickett and the Pittsburgh Steelers. And it's, a little bit more of the growing pains with Anthony Richardson under center. Week 16, we suffered another defeat. That was a winnable game. I think we should be competing a lot better against Falcons even after our fire. So we moved to 5-10. But still, in that defeat, we had a player look good, which was Shaq Leonard. 12 tackles, a sack, and an interception to get Defensive Player of the Week. And from that, indirectly or directly, because they're both on the same unit, a breakout defensive lineman opportunity. And it is for Tomi Edeboware, the normal dev rookie we've given a lot of opportunities to. And this would be absolutely gigantic. We saw him during training camp. He's like a man possessed. And I would love to see in this kind of a... Now, this season's a little bit of a punt right now. We're not overly competitive, but if we can get some of these young players, especially the rookies that I do have big futures for, but they are the normal devs. We can get as many dev traits as we possibly can. That would be huge. We lose a close one, but if we get that dev trait on Edeboware, that is going to be massive. And the L's just keep piling up here for the Colts. Damn. We close out the regular season of year 1 of this Colts rebuild with a nice 31-7 victory over the Texans. We finished with a respectable offense. I mean, points scored not the best, but a top 10 passing offense, almost top 10 rushing offense, which is not a bad start for Shane Steichen. He was hired away from the Philadelphia Eagles as our offensive coordinator to improve the offense in Indianapolis, and even with a subpar roster, we were able to do that with a developmental quarterback. And we finished 6-11. Don't know where that puts us into the draft pick conversation. Top 5, we pick at 4. Wow, the Commanders were butt cheeks. Texans, it's pretty competitive outside. Only 1 win for the Commanders. That is brutal. But we definitely are going to be in range to select one of those big-time wide receivers. That's truly where we want to end up going. But obviously, we need to get a little recap here. Who did what? How well did the team thrive? Is this Shane Steichen's team going to be great for us? Obviously, there's going to be a little bit of shift off of playbooks in Madden 24, and we'll see that here as soon as we take a look at what the Bucs did in the sim. But that is... that is a kind of rough rookie season for Anthony Richardson. 3,700 yards passing, 66 completion percentage is solid. 22 touchdowns, a little bit on the low end. We can see the rushing numbers, 15 picks. That's why we want to target a wide receiver. Running the ball, 1,500 yards, 10 touchdowns. Jonathan Taylor, Anthony Richardson with 400 rushing yards and 10 rushing touchdowns. So that kind of... I love those numbers. Those are great rushing numbers for how many years we've been struggling and striving and demanding better QB sim rushing numbers. Seeing more playbooks have better QB sim rushing numbers is awesome, even though I do think Anthony Richardson will likely have probably double that in terms of yardage. The 10 touchdowns they're rushing definitely makes us feel better. And when they had 32 total touchdowns his rookie season, that's pretty good for a rookie player. But obviously, look at that. Jonathan Taylor, irreplaceable. 91 yards a game. One of the best running backs in the NFL. That is why we did not cave to Jim Irsay's demands and trade away Jonathan Taylor for like a dumb, stupid trade like, Devin White. Receiving, 1,200 yards, 7 touchdowns for the rookie Josh Downs. Micah Pittman with not the best year. 750 yards, 7 touchdowns. 580 and 2 for Alec Pierce. Somehow Pharaoh Brown was our starting tight end, even though Jelani Woods was top in my depth chart. And I turned off the auto depth chart resigns. I don't know why that necessarily came to fruition. But either way, didn't really get nearly enough production out of our tight ends. Jonathan Taylor, decent out of the backfield. From a defensive perspective, Chad Muma, glad we made that trade. Leading tackle on team, $136. We had 120 tackles, 5 TFLs, 4 picks for Shaq Leonard, over 100 tackles for Kenny Moore in the slot, 9 sacks, 17 TFLs for DeForest Buckner. Really, really good numbers for a D tackle. 3.5 sacks, Adebaware, 2 from Taven Bryan. Ugh. Just not what you're looking for Kwity Paye there. Half a sack in the whole season. 19 TFLs is not too bad, but need to be a little bit more than just like a pure run defender. 4 picks, Shaq Leonard. We got 2 for Kenny Moore, 2 from Julius Brents, 1 from Nick Cross. But it's a bad roster. There's a reason why this is a fun rebuild, because a lot of work needs to get done here for our squad. Dak wins the MVP. Now, that is something I noticed in the beta that has continued into this early build. Cowboys are pretty overpowered in the sim. Don't know why that's the case, but they are. Look at the AFC Offensive Player of the Year goes to Joe Mixon. Defense Player of the Year goes to Myles Garrett. We have Offensive Rookie of the Year goes to Josh Downs, Anthony Richardson runner. I think I would prefer Anthony Richardson get that award if we do get the dev trade increase. He's going to need that superstar dev more than Josh Downs does. But we got Stroud there, Michael Mayer. Fullback. Pretty sure Derek Parrish is like a fullback. That's a little bit weird. Defensive Rookie of the Year does go to Julius Brown. I mean, we're just running away with these awards, which is kind of what we needed to happen, giving so many rookies playing time early on in their rookie seasons. So that could bode well if we do get the double dev traits on both of our players. Joe Burrow, quarterback of the year, just kind of burning through this to see if we had anybody. We had, runner-up for kicker of the year. That would have been cool. Maybe get that potential dev trait. But just because I know everybody wants to see, what do the Bucs look like? The Bucs, that's what you love to see. Even though you don't love seeing Anthony Richardson not dominate, not go off in his rookie season, you know what does feel good is that Madden 24, the Bucs aren't God mode in the sim. That's an absolute dub. But maybe we could do a little bit. The Cowboys, tune them down a little bit. Guys, over at Madden, please. To the end of the postseason, we have our offensive and defensive rookies of the year. Josh Downs, 77, getting a nice boost. We're going to pump that right into Playmaker just to get him a scheme fit. It really, by the end of the offseason, he's probably going to have another point here. But he gets blessed and is now a superstar dev, even though there is a little bit of regret of like that. Be a lot more beneficial to the team if that was Anthony Richardson. And Julius Brents, the defensive rookie of the year, already a scheme fit, jumping up to a 78 overall, and he too is a superstar dev. So that's awesome for both the offense and the defense going into year 2 of this rebuild. Just to enjoy here a little bit, Dallas loses the Super Bowl in year 1, so that's always good. That's always a plus. Our first piece of business is Kwity Paye. Before we can even hit the open market, before we can even focus on the 2024 NFL Draft, we have to decide if we want to pick up the 5th-year option or not on Kwity Paye. And unfortunately, the production wasn't there. But if we let him go, that's just another hole we have to try to fill on our squad at a position that's very expensive and usually not plentiful in free agency, and that is pass rusher. So we are going to pick up the 5th-year option, and hopefully he has a breakout next season. I do also want to go through the roster, trim a little bit of fat here, because given where we're at as a roster, and we're really at the beginning of the rebuild, we only have $40 million of salary cap, which says to me we can kind of tighten the budget up here a little bit and free up some cap. So we're going to get rid of Doolin here. We're going to get rid of Will Fries. Best of luck. D on the other side. I don't really think we have a lot of like whales, like guys that are like you clearly got to get rid of. Well, now we come to linebacker, EJ Speed. There's about $2 million that we could free up there. I definitely want to try and land me a linebacker on the open market. Grant Stewart, more of a special teamer. There's another $1 million. Best of luck, buddy. An Enterprise Rent-A-Car on the secondary. Cam Taylor-Britt, just trade for him. Can't really free up much there. How do you have 3 kickers? Why? For the first wave of free agency here, I like seeing that it's not ridiculous. Remember Madden 23 in your very first free agency period? There's like Justin Herbert, a bunch of X factors available, guys that like aren't really going to be there. Pretty reasonable free agency, pretty realistic one, which is not the best when you are looking to be aggressive spenders. I really think the big name that we kind of have to like, I don't know if we could spend is Josh Allen here, superstar pass rusher. Do need help on our pass rush, but there's no interest there, so I'd have to overpay. If there was interest, tell you right now, we'd be top bid for Josh Allen right now. But we are spending money here. Got to be smart. We have Isaiah Simmons. That'll be our one little, like, we'll see if we can get him. There's not a lot of interest there, but I do think that would be a big upgrade for us at strong safety. Plus, I want to get a little sneak peek, because if you live it under a rock, I announced that my Madden 24 franchise is going to be the Arizona Cardinals, and he's going to be a big-time player, I think, in that franchise. So I wanted to see that. And then we need a linebacker here, and we're going to take a look at Kenneth Murray. Star dev, only 25 years old, offers still a little bit of upside. So let's go through the first wave here. We're able to sign Kenneth Murray. We're still in pole position to land Isaiah Simmons, and we are able to get him to sign before the end of day one. But I think that's about it for us in our first free agency period. We're going to take that 38 mil, carry it over. Let's get ready for the draft. Our final mock draft, and again, you click the video, you know where we're going in this draft, but I just went name value. I did see the ratings of the wide receivers in this class, enough to say that I'm not even cheesing it, because he's not even the highest rated wide receiver in the class. We'll say it's likely to add a little bit of stake. Going to be Juan McGee. There's a reason why McGee is the top wide receiver to go. Now, we had to stick with our guns here. There was 2 Ohio State wide receivers projected to go in the first round, and we did scout both of them fairly heavily. Richard Sapp was a top 5 talent, but he scouted out as a first, second round talent. Marvin Harrison Jr. scouted out as a top 5 talent. So that is where we're going to go. Even though the boards haven't fallen to the Vikings so that they can get Marvin Harrison Jr., Jordan Addison, and Justin Jefferson, we're going to not let them go nuclear on the league, and we're going to reach for them at pick number 4. It is now time to start the 2024 NFL Draft. The Commanders, first on the clock, grab themselves a brand new quarterback, Anthony Patterson out of Maryland. Luther Smith, tackle, going to the Cardinals. Bold, but I'm assuming, you kick Paris Campbell out to one spot. Luther Smith, it makes sense. Bart Benjamin, the corner at Ole Miss, goes to complete the secondary there in Seattle. Again, maybe debatable to selection if you got Devin Witherspoon and Tariq Woolen, but sure, I guess you do need 3 starters. But here at pick 4, I know where we're going, and we're not going with maybe the highest rated player. We're going with the player that we wanted all along. A legacy player for the Colts, a wide receiver 1A to the 1B of Michael Pittman, Josh Downs, Marvin Harrison Jr. Welcome to Indianapolis. Moving into the second round. Now, here is where I really do think as a roster, we need to be in like BPA mode. Regardless of if we feel like we might have something at that position. I've scouted here. I got a nice defensive tackle, nose tackle. We're trying to replace Grover Stewart and get younger the position, but I think we could definitely wait on him. We don't need to pull the trigger in the second round. And I truly do think the best, I would love a pass rusher here. But we got Darren Jones, who didn't really work out. I thought he still could be all right, still could be fine, but the value's not there. You don't want to just run to that pick. We have Lewis Choice, who has 3 Bs. That's an interesting one, but again, 289, a little bit on the big side, not a ridiculous athlete. I think more of a 3-4 defense. I mean, he could actually probably kick into defensive tackle. I actually don't hate that call, because my original call was we don't need corners. But we have a 6'4" corner here in Desmond Thomas. 3 Bs and a C. Ran a 4.4. Pretty good athlete. Looks like good agility. Usually big guys like that can't move. I feel like this is going to be the better player. But we can just get that nose tackle a little bit later on to kind of fill that defense. All right, we're going to do it, man. You know me. I got a 6'4" corner. We're going to draft him. Welcome to Indy. We'll find a way. We got a very crowded corner room. Just got more crowded. Third round, the D-tackle still on the board. I think when you look at our offensive line, Ryan Kelly at center is kind of one of the suspect spots. We got Chris Evans here. We only have AB. Don't know all the information, but easily the best athlete available across all 5 positions here. In the draft, I feel pretty comfortable that usually the athletes, at least we'll roll a dev trade. He might be in the 60s, but I feel comfortable that there will be a dev trade, and there is for Chris Evans, who I think can be our Ryan Kelly successor. All right, we're back up in the third round at pick 28. Now, we have a steal. We did scout the wide receivers. obviously, we knew where we wanted to go, and there's been a steal that we're sitting on. We got Theo Hunt here, day 3 pick. I wouldn't have drafted. I mean, you know, the double F's there would be, but he is a first, second round talent, so that's kind of one of our value picks that we're gonna, you know, sit on, hope no one drafts. I think now we look at the D tackle room and see if we can get our big old nose tackle, Ben Davis, coming off the clock. These guys still exist. They were what you wanted to look for in Madden 23. If you needed a defensive tackle that wasn't like an interior pass rusher, these guys will get generated every draft class or so that are 330-pound plus. They're going to have ridiculous bench press, which this guy does, 42 reps, best in the class. Not always a depth trait. Usually the player that you can kind of guess that their floor is going to be like 70, 71. And I hope that's the case here for Ben Davis. Because, you know, you handle the run like Grover Stewart did, and you let DeForest Buckner now getting up there in age a little bit, but just let him rush the passer. I think that's a healthy unit in the interior of our defensive line. 4th round, just in case anybody else draft, we might as well. Like, there's no clear cut where we want to go with the board here. Theo Hunt, we scouted him. I mean, looking at the player himself, if I still needed a wideout, I think the fact that he does have an A and a B, but when you look at the combine, you know, top 3 in the big categories: 40-yard dash, 3-cone drill, 20-yard shuttle. Those are the 3 that you always want to look for at least wide receivers. If not, you know, I think you can definitely group in running backs and corners into those parameters. So Theo Hunt, no depth trait, so that means he probably has a pretty nice rating, first, second round grade. Welcome to Indy. I want to see, while we're at this spot now, it's a little bit early to be playing around, but we got a quarterback here. We do need to add some competition between Sam Ehlinger and someone else to be the backup behind Anthony Richardson. We got Dwight Cook here, UDFA grade quarterback, but we got the B accuracy, A throw under pressure, and he has elite throw power, even though he does run a full second slower than Anthony Richardson in the 40-yard dash. Why not? And look, I hit it, Dad, baby. Easy pull the trigger. I looked through 3 quarterbacks. He's the only one that had elite throw power, and we got ourselves a value right there. We also need depth at tackle and 1 right tackle on the roster now. And, you know, you got the double B here with Pittman. It looks like the talent is definitely starting to dwindle. Not really much of an athlete. You got to almost gamble with those 2 ratings. Help him out a little bit, but there might be our first dud of the draft class, but you're always due for at least one. So outside linebacker depth, we got Ray Baxter here. At least is pulling the B zone coverage. C block said not too shabby. Combine also not brutal. Fastest, one of the fastest from his pro day at left outside linebacker. So sure, maybe there's gonna be a little bit of late round value there. And then we're gonna finish with the easiest position to draft in all Maddens, and that is your kicker and punter. Here we have Paul Gore. They tell you straight up what his kick accuracy is. It's B. That's not amazing, but that's pretty damn good. He has elite kick power, so you know you're getting a guy that's at least going to be a 70, and that is exactly what we get with 97 kick power. What a boot. Big shoes to fill if he can become our next Pac McAfee. So taking a look at the draft class, a little bit nervous. I can't start my Madden 24 season, my first Madden 24 rebuild, with a bad draft. I felt pretty good with the draft. We got 4 hidden dev players. The only thing I knew was I knew Marvin Harrison was going to be a 79, and I know he's not. He technically would be tied for second best wide receiver in the class. So, I mean, again, scouts honor. If I wanted to, I would have made him the best wide receiver. Like, if I was going to do any sort of manipulation, why would I not at least just be like, oh, he's clearly the best, and he's going to be an X factor. All I did was just rename him Ohio State wide receiver, Marvin Harrison Jr. The core attributes are whatever the base player's attributes were. Again, if you were creating Marvin Harrison Jr. from the ground up, you probably would have, you know, these things would be vastly different. But we got 91 speed, 92 acceleration, 86 catching, 84 catch in traffic, 86 spec catch, 97 jumping, 85 release. So, like, you would shuffle those around a little bit if you were trying to accurately create Marvin Harrison Jr. But because I'm just in the business of strictly just renaming a player for the sake of this first draft class to get a guy that I really think would be interesting and very much a potential target for the Colts in real life in 2024. Really happy that we have Marvin Harrison Jr., a legacy player following the footsteps of his old man, playing wide receiver for the Colts. Desmond Thomas, our second-round corner, didn't need the position. He was just BPA. Easy pick. Had great letter grades. Was 6'4", and was an outstanding athlete. 93 speed, 92 acceleration, 91 agility, 91 jumping. To pair that with Julius Brents on the outside, with Kenny Moore in the slot. Really like our corner room going forward. There's a lot of competition there. Maybe we can move some of those other pieces out for potential trades. We have Chris Evans here, 73 hidden dev at center. He's going to be our potential successor to Ryan Kelly. I wouldn't even say potential. He's going to be an eventual successor for Ryan Kelly. Ben Davis, our big nose tackle, 72 normal. Theo Hunt, was that late round wide receiver that had that first round grade. He's a 73 normal, not bad. Could bring in some decent competition with like Alec Pierce for that wide receiver 4 spot. And he's going to be very affordable on that rookie contract. Our last hidden dev of the draft class is taking a flyer on a backup quarterback, Dwight Cook. Hidden dev, only a 66. He's never going to play. Just kind of a fun pick to find out that these late round quarterbacks do exist in Madden 24. They were very few and far between in Madden 23. Hey, always look for elite throw power. If you get someone with elite throw power, it's almost always worth a gamble to see if they can be something. Pittman and Baxter, not the best pick. 63 and 66 normal dev respectively. And then Paul Gore, our punter, who was always going to be really good. 73 overall. It's a great way to finish the draft. But Marvin Harrison Jr., 79. Not even the best wide receiver in this draft class. He's tied. There was 2 79s. And the top dog was Juan McGee. 80 hidden dev. So there is a little bit of annoyance that we kind of locked it. Because, I mean, could just made this guy Marvin Harrison, gone with the 80. What is the dev trait on the player? Don't be X Factor. Please be a star so that I have some hope that I'm going to have a better dev trait. It's superstar. It stings a little bit. That guy is really freaking good. But we got to be happy with what we got. Marvin Harrison Jr., 79. He is, hopefully as good as his dad. Hopefully, even if he's half as good as his dad, that's going to be a win. All right, we're going into the position, little training camp here. Marvin Harrison Jr., what can he bring? We're going to start with a terrible late throw from Anthony Richardson. Oh, there's a nice little 400 one. Let's go deep. Oh, let's go! Now we just gotta stack the multiplier. Start getting catches. A little 200 one. Get that easy separation. I feel like we can at least get silver here. We got a free release. Ah, there's another one. Give it to me. 2 reps left. Like literally, I think even if we just make like 2 easy catches, we could have got. I don't even know, man. I gotta get something that's worth 1,000 here. No, we had it. I will take it. Silver at least gets us a skill point. I won't be too greedy. We'll take it. And I hope this is a fix and not that Marvin Harrison Jr. is not an X factor. But when you go to your weekly training, usually in the older Maddens, this would expose your player's dev traits. And it appears that's working now, which is a win. That's good. So after a pretty decent offseason, here is our squad going into year number 2. The offensive line, the tight end, all remains the same. Skill position spots remain the same outside of the massive addition of Marvin Harrison Jr. So again, we're going Harrison Jr. and Pittman on the outside with superstar Josh Downs in the slot. But really for the offense, need a big year out of Anthony Richardson. Need to see a little bit better in terms of passing. I want to see more touchdowns, less interceptions, and all eyes are on the goal of getting him off of that star dev and up to a superstar. But knowing that he has and is capable of getting 400, 500, 600 yards rushing, double-digit rushing touchdowns, if we could just get a little bit more efficient as a thrower, I think it's inevitable that he is going to start popping dev traits left, right, and center as we go through this rebuild. The defense shuffles around a little bit. We have Pay, Davis, Buckner, and Adebaware as our front 4. Really want to see Adebaware get another dev trait opportunity. Hit one in year 1. Unfortunately, did not get it. But that would be awesome. Linebacker core, Kenneth Murray, Muma, and Shaq Leonard. We're going to primarily go, however, with Shaq Leonard and Isaiah Simmons as our 2 sub linebackers. That way there we can have Cam Taylor-Britt still got on the field, obviously making that trade, sending Grover Stewart to the Bengals and bringing him over. Still want to utilize his skill set a little bit. We got Blackman at safety, Kenny Moore, Julius Brents, and the rookie Thomas. So we're going to have Thomas and Brents on the outside with Kenny Moore in the slot. Really, really like our secondary, and I do think the addition of Isaiah Simmons is going to make our defense just that much more versatile. And my expectations here in year 2, I think a reasonable one would be to go 500. Let's go 500 at least, maybe even above it, because you technically have to go above it. Let's go 9 wins. Take that, a nice week 1 victory, 21-7 over a divisional rival in the Texans. But we do get a player of the week, which we want to highlight, and it is DeForest Buckner. Doing the fire sale last year, decided to keep Buckner instead of trading him, and he's still happy playing for the Colts here. 3 sacks week 1, that's huge. So we're at the midway point of year number 2, coming off a really nice victory, week 8 over the Bears. I mean, our goal this year was to go above 500. 9 wins, we're kind of on that pace right now. Titans are running away with the AFC South 7-1. We do have a weekly performance here, week 8, and it's the man that our owner wanted to trade away. Now he's kind of eating his own words because he's playing very well. Jonathan Taylor had 169 yards from scrimmage, 3 total touchdowns in that victory. I will say I have been kind of viewing the stats here a little bit. We'll save it for you guys at the end. Maybe not. I'm a little worried about the playbook. I mean, playbooks are still the playbooks, right? The overpowered playbooks I've seen to be nerfed outside of like the Cowboys for the most part that I've seen. But I have a feeling that there are bad playbooks that still exist in this game. And I'm getting a little bit worried here, man. But you know what? We'll just buckle down and continue the development of Anthony Richardson. Hopefully get there. 4-3, we're getting there, man. We're building our blocks. Let's look at some contracts. Now, we didn't spend super crazy in free agency because I didn't want to have that money to roll over. And with $64 million, I mean, it's a light free agency class. We drafted Ryan Kelly's successor in the draft. Odeyingbo is solid depth for the most part. But we do have DeForest Buckner here, and he's been incredible. He's been our best defensive player. I want to keep him here. Honestly, I want to keep him here until he retires. So I'm actually going to try to back up the Brinks truck here and give him a very player-friendly deal to get him to sign on the dotted line. It looks like this year, when all is said and done, wouldn't be surprised if he's in double-digit sacks and leads the team. Oh, let's go. Who can take down the big, mighty Titans? We kicked the crap out of them. 31-3 over the top team in the NFL. Indy on a roll, moving to 6-3. Huge up. Week 15, we complete the sweep over the big, bad Tennessee Titans, who are free-falling, and with that, with 3 games remaining, kind of in the driver's seat right now for the division. We finish off all that momentum with 3 straight losses to finish 8-9, a game back of the division, a game back of our goal for the season. But what would our first rebuild of Madden 24 be if we're already starting to find a lot of success in year 2? You know, we need a little bit more of a slow burn, and all of our attention shifts towards year 3. Offensively, a top 10 offense, almost a top 10 defense. Little worried that we have constantly had one of the worst passing offenses. That's just obviously the nature of how our team is built, feeding the ball to Jonathan Taylor and having one of the best dual-threat quarterbacks in the NFL. So, you know, there has to be a little bit of give and take. Well, let's look at it. Jonathan Taylor finishes the 3rd leading rusher, 1,600 yards, 17 touchdowns, which is pretty dope. Not much else. I don't like seeing Patrick Queen as the 3rd leading tackler because we essentially picked Kenneth Murray over Patrick Queen in free agency. Take a look at Anthony Richardson. 3,500 yards, 23 touchdowns, 60. He's giving me Kyler Murray vibes. If you did any Cardinal franchise in Madden 23, I'm getting a lot of Kyler Murray sim vibes here on Anthony Richardson. 3,500 yards, 23 touchdowns, 16 picks. Not great. Threw in 550 and 7. It's like even that's still like a step back, a little bit of regression from what we saw last year. And I mean, we're setting the goal of like he needs to be playing well enough to get dev trade increases, and I'm not really seeing a way after these first 2 years for him to get off this start. I mean, the talent is there, up to an 81 overall, has the boost because of, you know, how we're spending our staff points and really focusing the quarterback position. So, I mean, it's a slow burn, and we're going to be going into year 3 with Anthony Richardson, with him really still needing to answer a lot of questions in terms of being a franchise QB. Jonathan Taylor's been immaculate. Exactly why we defended not trying to trade away Jonathan Taylor, because we need to be able to rely on the run game while we develop our quarterback, and that is exactly what he's doing. 1,600 yards, 17 touchdowns, averaged 95 yards a game. The rookie Marvin Harrison Jr. led the team, 82 catches, almost 1,100 yards, and 10 tutties. We had 1,000 set for Josh Downs. Michael Pittman, I mean, again, just our passing offense is not great. So you're not going to have, you know, the 3,000-4,000 yard receivers that you would if you have a fully functioning passing offense. But we are waiting to see the depth trade on Marvin Harrison Jr. and it's superstar. I was kind of hoping it was going to be an X factor. He's one of those prospects, like in real life, there's a chance, you know, in next year's Madden 25, Marvin Harrison Jr. as a rookie will be an X factor, get that X factor. He's that hyped of a wide receiver prospect, but we will take it. So he ended up being a 79 superstar dev when we got him right away, which is in line with the other top wide receiver from the draft class who was an 80 superstar. So that is pretty good. And the fact that he's wide receiver 1, Harrison being wide receiver 1 in Indy after, what we'll say, 15 years, 10, 15 years, somewhere in that age. So that's good. Defensively, Shaq Leonard and Isaiah Simmons both going over 100 tackles. Buckner, who we gave a 3-year contract extension for him to retire as a Colt, is justifying that. Very much so. 81 tackles, 20 TFLs, 14.5 sacks for a defensive tackle. Those are all pro numbers. So very happy with that. We had 8 TFLs, 7 sacks for Kwity Paye, which is good. we're kind of banking on a little bit of a breakout here, picking up his 5th-year option. Those are acceptable numbers. We definitely need another guy, though. We need another. Adebaware is not, you know, he's a role player, I guess. The rookie Ben Davis for a clear nose tackle at 345 pounds, 17 fouls, 5 sacks are really good numbers. Julius Brents led the team with 3 interceptions, a couple 2 pieces down the board. Desmond Thomas, our 2nd-round pick with the dev trade. It is a star, so we didn't have a god tier draft or anything crazy like that, but not a bad start to his NFL career. Looking at the yearly awards here as we dust ourselves off and get ready for year 3. MVP goes to Justin Herbert. Interesting. All right, looking for some Colts here. Let's see some Colts. Jonathan Taylor, 3rd in Offensive Player of the Year voting. DeForest Buckner, 2nd in Defensive Player of the Year voting. Offensive Rookie of the Year goes to Marvin. Ooh. It's actually, that's going to be a great battle. McGee was the top wide receiver in the draft class. With Marvin Harrison Jr. getting Offensive Rookie of the Year, we could be getting that red boy that we have been looking for. Defensive Rookie of the Year goes to Deion Guyton, a linebacker. I actually considered him if we did want to go after a linebacker. With Davis coming at 6, which is that's a little low. A nose tackle getting 5 sacks. Probably should bumped up there just a little bit. Look at the rest of the awards. Jonathan Taylor does win running back of the year. Marvin Harrison, number 8 for wide receiver of the year. DeForest Buckner, I mean, Vaughn just had a hell of a year, I suppose, because Buckner was incredible. He is runner-up for D lineman of the year, and those are the rest of the awards. So we sit here through 2 seasons with the Indianapolis Colts here in Madden 24. I don't want to say more questions than answers, but I you know, Anthony Richardson needs to step it up, man. He got to take his game to another level. This is the one that we're waiting on. Marvin Harrison Jr. We're at season's end now. If he was going to get a dev, he would, and he did not. Dang. Well, I mean, again, there's no different. If he was drafted as a star dev, and then he would have gone up to superstar. So, remains a superstar. Not going to be too greedy. That's still awesome, and we're going to build on it. It just needs to be said, for those of you that kind of paid attention to year 1, that there was a point that the Commanders are the worst team. They had the number 1 overall pick, and then they go win the Super Bowl the next year. That's quite the turnaround. Anthony Patterson, what a stud. And I actually think he was like an 85 generational quarterback, so good on him. Now, look at this guy. Rookie playing as a 99 overall. That is absurd. What this guy got going for him? 99 throw power. Why can't Anthony Richardson play like that? This guy's looked like a bag of trash. He's built like a bag of trash. Anthony Richardson's an alien. Give me some of these stats. So we roll into this free agency. We've more than enough salary cap move to make a splash if we want to. I want pass rush because we're not going to be in a position to really get one of the premier pass rushers that always in the draft. Those guys always go top 10. And I'll tell you right now, free agency so far through 2 free agency periods, pretty bare. Not a lot of like, yeah, we got to sign that guy. A lot of veterans, which maybe that's more realistic, I suppose. But not the most entertaining, if you will, pool of players through 2 seasons. But we do got Jalen Phillips, who's an outstanding athlete. Might give us a little bit of juice. I don't really want to overpay because he is 26. How close to his ceiling is he? He could be particular. You know, it might be better to just find and trade up in the draft for like a really good pass rusher. So that being said, we just put a reasonable offer in here on Jalen Phillips. If he takes it, so be it. It looks like, I mean, I'll go up player friendly, and that is going to be our max bid. If he takes it, which he does, awesome. Hopefully he gets more than the 2 sacks Adebaware was getting us as our second defensive end. We're now on the clock, 10th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, and here's kind of what I'm thinking in terms of targets that have been positions that I've scouted. One is improving the tight end spot. Maybe that's really the only avenue I think that we can assist Anthony Richardson. Our offensive line is good. We have one of the best running backs in the NFL. Michael Pittman, Marvin Harrison Jr., and Josh Downs. Those are as good of a trio of wide receivers that you're going to get. But tight end, Jelani Woods is solid, nice role player, but maybe getting a true game changer at tight end could be huge. I also want to scout some edge rushers. Kwity Paye, he's playing on his 5th-year option. Got to make the decision whether or not he's worth re-signing and paying top-tier money. We kind of just threw, it was expensive, but like a flyer on Jalen Phillips. Don't know if he's going to be a proven pass rusher. So I did do a lot of scouting on my pass rushers. I mean, you could always, you know, Adebaware can like maybe kick inside the defensive tackle we wanted to, and we can add another body there. But I still think getting a pass rush, no matter how many resources we got to throw at the problem, it could be very important for this squad. But tight end and pass rush, we are sitting at the top 10 selection So this, we're going to have a decent pool of players that we can select from. Let's take a look. Now, I did most of my homework on the edge rushers. We did outside linebackers. That was the strength of the draft class. I did scout the top tight end available, which is Cordell Freedman. 3 A's and a B. Now, he's a second, third round projection. So that's like one of those ones, like if we play our cards right, he potentially could be available. He got elite acceleration, agility, change of direction, and jumping with good speed. Now, 4.7 is not the best. This guy looks incredible. I'm going to be completely honest with you. I know maybe with the signing of Jalen Phillips, we pivot a little bit for our pass rushers. I think the best pass rusher that we did scout was Carl Dodson, but he's like a one-dimensional guy. We got the double A, which is awesome, but the block set not particularly good. Combine's not bad. It's, I like the bench press. He's kind of actually like stylistically built like a 3-4 defensive end, athletically speaking, but he's 6'6", 267. So that could potentially work. Here are the outside linebackers. And, didn't get much there at left outside linebacker. Right outside linebacker, we have Jennings and Casey, both legit first-round talents. B, block shed, A, pursuit for Jason Hennings. How good of an athlete? I'm always going to need a freak athlete here for me not to grab that tight end. And he has elite acceleration, good burst. 4.6 is not bad, but top 10 pick. I want to see a little bit more athleticism. Lance Casey out of Wisconsin. Really good B, block shed, A pursuit, B tackle. Not necessarily a great scheme fit, but he runs a 4.5. That is kind of what you want, but I'll say this too. This guy looks nice. 2B. Oh, might come back to him. I don't even need really an off-ball linebacker right now. But I think all things considered, we continue to throw as many assets and resources as we can in solving the Anthony Richardson problem. And I think that is going to be not waiting to hope, get him in the second. But I mean, is he going to be available in the second round? It's not like one of those things where we can just keep waiting and hope that he falls the second round, because he's not, he's going to be the first tight end. It's not like we can let one tight end go ahead of him. Like if Dwight Ray was ahead of him, and as soon as he went off the board, we know we'd have to jump up and get our guy. Oh, man. Like in a perfect way, I can get Casey and then Freedman. Oh, damn. I literally thought about this for like 5 minutes. When you have a guy, you get your guy. We signed Jalen Phillips. Let's be optimistic that Jalen Phillips is going to develop into our pass rusher, and Kwity Paye plays well enough to get a contract extension. We have at least 2 pass rushers that we're optimistic about. We do not have a tight end that we're optimistic about. So we're going to select Cordell Freedman out of Michigan. Hidden dev. Let's go. I think I'd just go BPA. And with Isaiah Simmons being like a hybrid linebacker safety, I always feel like you can have, you can have more competition back there. And this is just kind of the best athlete that's available. Safety looks like that was the strength of this year's draft class, because Crothers, we have A power, B zone coverage. He looks pretty legit. At free safety, you have the double A's here on JT Justice, which is a pretty badass name. But I think at this spot, we'll go with just the best athlete of what I kind of just get a vibe of what's going to be a pretty strong class. And I think he's just BPA. And I don't want to speak to the rest of the class.
The Cincinnati Bengals are on the clock.
There's our first kind of dud, but not a strong draft. After that first round, not a strong draft. We're going to be just kind of picking athletes at this point. Third round, I got a little receiving back. Again, just really picking the fast guys that kind of could fill roles on our squad. We don't necessarily have that passing back, that Naheem Hines, if you will, on the squad. So I think Blake could definitely fill that role and potentially spell Jonathan Taylor as our third down back. So looking at our draft recap, the fallout. How good is Freedman? We know he's probably pretty good. I'm going to say he needs to be at least 75. He's 77 hidden dev, which is already an immediate upgrade over Jelani Woods as our starting tight end. And he's pretty well rounded, man. He can block a little bit. Not really, though. We're not going to be asking him to block. We're going to be asking you, hey, can you be the safety net? Can you always be open? Can you work and operate with a really good three-headed wide receiver attack? Josh Rivers came normal dev, a little bit of a wet fart of a pick, but still 74. Really nice rating. Markel Blades, 71. Hidden dev speedster back. We did late get a hidden dev tight end, JoJo Woodley. I'll tell you right now, it was kind of a thing, an indicator to look for. Last year, when you get into the late rounds, if you see a blocking tight end with elite strength, go get him. Because this one here, nice little 72 hidden dev tight end to finish out the draft. Anytime there is a debate, though, I always like going to sneak a little peek at what could have been. In Casey, The outside linebacker ended up going to Atlanta. He was really the only other option if we weren't going to go grab a tight end. He is 75, so we got a player that's 2 overall points better. And he's just a star dev, so that's, we're at least going to be equal to it. Year 3 for the Colts, looking for our first opportunity to make the playoffs. I think we have more than enough talent in this building to compete for a playoff. So we had that last year, but the changes, well, we have a brand new pass rusher. We're hoping Jalen Phillips can be that double-digit guy outside of DeForest Buckner. We want to see more development of Kwity Paye, who's going into a contract year, and usually those guys like to perform a little bit because they want to get paid. And on the offensive side, we're hoping our shiny new first-round pick, Cordell Freeman, out of Michigan, the U of M, can bring out the best in Anthony Richardson. Can we get Anthony Richardson up to 30 passing touchdowns this season? Sounds crazy, but man, oh man, we need that to get A-Rich up to a superstar dev here in year 3. Let's go. And something I didn't expect to happen halfway through year 3, we are undefeated, 7-0. And this is a gigantic matchup, week 9 against the Raiders, who are also 7-0. So I want to sim this game just to see if we can come out on the winning end, and then we will talk about some contracts. But this could be a potential AFC Championship matchup, the 2 hottest teams, and it's a close one. First L of the season for our Colts, falling 31-28 week 9 to the Raiders. Damn, that would have been a fun one to win. Looking at our contracts, $73 billion. So let's decide whom are we going to pay. Kwity Paye, we got to wait and see. 100% got to see double-digit sacks, really, for me to warrant 50 mil there. Cam Taylor-Britt is, even though, we made a trade for him, but I also, could he be the eventual successor to Kenny Moore? Similar style players. It's not a brutal contract. We'll offer it, see what happens. And he does take a really reasonable deal. Braden Smith on the offensive line. Well, this is our first time of saying probably my most beat a dead horse saying that I tried getting over Madden 23. And it's literally, you run your linemen into the ground. You get a good lineman, you run them into the ground. So we have Braden Smith here. Not a lot of interest, so we'll bump this one up to a player-friendly deal. We're not going to overpay. He buys in, continues to buy into the project we have here with Shane Steichen. Probably loves playing with Anthony Richardson. Muma, another player that we traded for, but I think at this point, you gotta start to view his ceiling a little bit. I mean, we'll give him a neutral offer. All these players here, just give him neutrals, and if they do sign, so be it. We have Raymond at left tackle, 78, 80. I mean, he's been solid. He wants more money. I think we're gonna be looking for a new left tackle. And after 3 years, we got playoffs. We got a title. The AFC South champions, 12-5. The Indianapolis Colts found a way to put it all together here, at least somewhat, this season. Jonathan Taylor was a man-possessed. 1,700 yards, 23 touchdowns. What an absolute monster. I definitely saw some decent passing games from Anthony Richardson, and so he gets about 500 more passing yards, a lot more touchdowns than the TD interception ratio that we've been looking for. Not S tier, right? He's never going to be S tier. What do you got for rushing? Look at that, 10 rushing touchdowns, 600 yards, pretty much equaling the success he had on the ground year 1 as a rookie. But he puts forth his best passing season, and I think, he's going to be an MVP contender. I don't think we're ever necessarily going to have the offense that gets those 40-plus touchdown seasons, which you will see, and there will be other rebuilds that we do that are going to have those more traditional numbers. But I think this is definitely the ceiling for a dual-threat quarterback, and a quarterback that sims like a dual-threat quarterback. So outstanding there. Jonathan Taylor is still the best player, though, even with that nice year to Anthony Richardson. That might be enough to get him a superstar. I definitely think the best thing about this is the interceptions, man. He's been flirting with 20 picks both years in the league. Cuts that down to 6 and a 71 completion percentage in an incredible year from Anthony Richardson. And even that being said, still not as good as Jonathan Taylor. 1,700 yards, 23 touchdowns, average over 100 a game. Now, spread the football around. 789 for the rookie Cordell Freeman. He was hidden dev. He's a star. Now, if we can get into the offensive rookie of the year conversation, I'll be more than happy to finish this year out with a superstar tight end. Josh Downs, 887 and 6. So year 3 is the first year of his career that he doesn't go over 1,000 yards. Marvin Harrison under 1,000. Michael Pittman was our go-to. So we spread the love here, which it's not that bad. It's not the end of the world. Don't really care, right? Because it's a breakup from our quarterback. But the bad news is Josh Downs and Marvin Harrison, both on that superstar dev, might be at risk of losing those depth traits. Leonard and Murray lead the team with 100 tackles each. We got 8.5 sacks from DeForest Buckner, 8 sacks from Jalen Phillips, 5.5 from Adebaware, and Kwity Paye in a make-it-or-break-it year, trying to cash out and get a new contract. I'm glad we didn't just rush to pay him, because that is not worth $50 million, especially Adebaware kind of popping here a little bit as a rotational pass rusher. Worked out well. And I guess he would have been like our sub-D tackle too, and those get on the field sometimes. Kenny Moore led the team with 4 picks, 3 picks for Julius Brents, 3 picks for Isaiah Simmons on almost 100 tackles. So pretty good numbers in the secondary across the board. Really happy. This is #1 offense in the NFL. Anthony Richardson runners up for the MVP. They give it to Mahomes. Damn. Who says, look at the dual threats? It's nice. Nice to see. Jonathan Taylor wins Offensive Player of the Year. Anthony Richardson coming in at number 3. Man, honestly. And he's obviously not... Well, he might get Quarterback of the Year. Freeman did not get Offensive Rookie. That went to Jamie Oliver, the chef. Man, Anthony Richardson is going to end the season with no awards. That could potentially work against us in our pursuit of that superstar dev. Jonathan Taylor, Running Back of the Year. Quentin Nelson, runner-up for Lineman of the Year. And that's about it. Okay. I'm going to be really bummed out. I'm going to be more bummed out if we don't get that superstar for Anthony Richardson than if we go, one and done. We're, I don't want to say ahead of schedule, but this was an awesome year. So we kind of are playing with house money if we can't get our first playoff victory. But I would love to here over the Miami Dolphins. And we do! 28-26. It's a close matchup. We get a weekly one. I'm going to guess it's Jonathan Taylor. And it is Jonathan Taylor. $175, 4 touchdowns on the ground. And we get Defensive Player of the Week. 2 sacks. The veteran DeForest Buckner. We get our win. Our playoff dub. And now it's the divisional round here. We got the Cleveland Browns. Not a great team. 81 overall. Our offense is really good. Defense, not so much. But we took an offense that... Our rushing yards are off a little bit. We were the #1 rushing yard team. But 240, which doesn't really sound that crazy through the air. But that's like 20 yards average, more than what we were putting up the first 2 years. So, pretty respectable numbers on the offensive side for us. Cleveland also can throw the damn thing. Deshaun Watson's having a nice year. But, come on, boys. Yes! Year 3. You smell it? The Super Bowl is there. The Ravens and Lamar stand in our way. Kenneth Murray Jr. gets it, 9 tackles, a pick, not even a pick 6. Deshaun actually had a really good game, all things considered, but it did have that interception. We'll take it. We will absolutely take it. And now we are very much ahead of schedule here in year 3. It is the 13-4 Baltimore Ravens against the 12-5 Indianapolis Colts. Super Bowl on the line. Come on. Please. Please. Oh, my God. We're in the Super Bowl 4. Oh, boy. All right. We got to look at the box score here. This run that we are on, we're not pummeling teams. We're not air raiding. It's grindy wins. We're playing team football, to say something generic. And in a battle of really both quarterbacks struggling, Anthony Richardson at least got the offense going there. $117, 2 touchdowns for Jonathan Taylor. Pittman had a receiving touchdown on the defensive side. No sacks, pretty clean on that department. But Kenny Moore gets an interception, the veteran, and that is enough to get the Colts Super Bowl bound against the Panthers here in year 3. 2025 Super Bowl against the Carolina Panthers. I'm curious, just on top of the fact that the Panthers were our rebuild team last year, main channel franchise. Where's Bryce? What's Bryce looking like? How did they get here? They're also ahead of schedule. I can tell you that right now. Bryce Young, 82 superstar. They got Miles Sanders still there. Sterling. How did these guys make the Super Bowl? O-line looks nice. They brought Wyatt Teller over from the Browns. Defensively, you got Fletch, you got Brian Burns, Shaq Thompson. Secondary, nice. Shout out J.C. Horn, the Horn Dog, Jeremy Chintz. How did these guys make? They got a kicking game? Is that how they got it? We should be winning the Super Bowl here. We're able to equal. Trading field goals here in the first quarter. Carolina looking to get the first touchdown of the game. We hold them to a field goal. 2-minute drill for the offense. Quick 3 and out. Defense getting a little gassed here. Doing their job. Doing as best they can. Keeping field goals. The only thing that counts. this wasn't year 3. This was year 5. I'd be hopping in right now playing with Anthony Richardson. But I don't really want to manually get us a Super Bowl here in year 3, or at least have my fingerprints all over outside of my team building. We get the first touchdown of the game. Go up 10-6. Our defense has been incredible. Goal line, it looks like back-to-back 4th down goal line stands. We kick the field goal, which is never want to settle there, but Carolina hasn't done a whole lot. And when it's a low-scoring game like this, that field goal gives us the slight buffer. We have to do a little bit of a 2-minute drill here defensively. 58 seconds to go on, and oh my God, we got it! I honestly don't think we are even in this discussion if we didn't go with the decision right away to keep Jonathan Taylor. And obviously it helps that Anthony Richardson had a breakout season. It helps that he finally threw for over 30 touchdowns and over 4,000 yards. It helps that he cut his interceptions down from like 20 to 6. So that's just unreal development from our quarterback. And I think it's fair to say it's rare when you can win a Super Bowl without a quarterback that isn't throwing those 45, 50 touchdowns a game. And looking at it, I got to see that final score here. Who got it? 28. Anthony Richardson, only touchdown of the game for him through the air. Had a rushing touchdown in the 3rd quarter. It was a game that, I mean, honestly, game ball goes to our defense. Our defense was sensational. Got a lot of stops. Bend, don't break. Give him some yards, sure. But we got a lot of stops. Anthony Richardson, 232 yards, touchdown, no pick. 67 yards for Jonathan Taylor, rushing touchdown for Anthony Richardson. Josh down, 80 yards. Michael Pittman had the touchdown defensively. We got half a sack there. I mean, honestly, we played good hard defense. Wasn't like we got a lot of turnovers. Wasn't like we got a lot of immediate pressure on the quarterback, but we played good coverage. And hey, look, Julius Brent's forced fumble. Nice. I'm giving the MVP, though. I'm going to give it to Anthony Richardson. We end the season as Super Bowl champions. Here's how our dev traits look. Anthony Richardson does get the boost up to superstar after his breakout season. And the stats and the attributes are, I mean, he's a 95 quarterback right now. He is on fire. And he's going to look to turn this thing into a dynasty years 4 and year 5. I want one more Super Bowl. I don't want our window just to be one. We didn't lose the dev trade on Marvin Harrison or Josh Downs, so that's awesome. No dev trait regression for either one of our receivers, even though they all had under 1,000 yards. Jonathan Taylor remains an X factor. We get the superstar dev on. How did we get this? Did he get it just straight up because he was a good player? I suppose he gets the superstar dev end of the year. So it must be just based off of his stats and production at the tight end spot. That's usually what that would interpret. So hell yeah. Thought we were pretty much out of the sweepstakes including a superstar dev when he didn't win Offensive Rookie of the Year, but that is a nice dub. Defensively, as far as dev traits are concerned, I don't think anyone up or down. And Julius Brents and Buckner keep their devs. That's a win. The first piece of business of the offseason, Raymond, I'm going to give it another offer. He actually takes it just because I guarantee we let him walk. He's going to be the best left tackle. And then we'd be going back to him anyways. And we absolutely are picking up the 5th-year option on Anthony Richardson. This is an incredibly butt-cheeks free agency period. Like, it is, I don't want to say borderline. Like, we might need to get this nerfed a little. Like, Quiddy plays the best defensive end that's available. But not worth the money. I mean, Adebawore had a better year, and he's still on his rookie deal. And again, we could just not spend that money, go Adebawore or address that during the draft. Maybe we get a stud in the first round. The $6-7 million is going to roll over again, and maybe we get a really good free agency role going into year 5. But this is just not good. For the 32nd pick of the draft, we need to look at the defensive line. Edge rusher, maybe potentially a defensive tackle, and the top edge rushers are defensive tackles. It's the ones where we scouted them again, didn't get a lot back. I mean, obviously we're picking at 32, so the good couple edge rushers I did see are long gone. Now, there is a defensive tackle that's 384 pounds. I might just have to draft him but I think the best bet right now, I want to look at Taylor Hurts here. Is a scheme for us, A block shed, CC on the finesse power, A tackle. For a run defender archetype, 4.75. Like, if we're just classifying this guy as a defensive tackle, 4.75 is ridiculous for a defensive tackle. So we're going to go Taylor Hurts in the first round. Yes, we keep the hidden dev streak alive for our first round picks. That's a dub. So we're in the business going best player available, and this being an early rebuild, any nuggets I can drop to you guys that can help you get an early advantage of your drafts, I will, because I'm probably even going to make a video of that to help you guys out. This one's not that hard. 3 A's and a B at right guard. Scheme fit for our squad. I guess just in case, you know, Quentin Nelson decides to hang it up potentially, or, you know, Braden Smith. I don't know. But this guy, clearly the best player. Oh, no Dev, though. I better see like 75. Something like that for his rating. What does a 384-pound D tackle look like? Well, he doesn't have a Dev trait, and he somehow is 80. I should make this guy a fullback. An easy late-round corner. This guy was third in the 40-yard dash, first in the vertical jump. Easy get. Welcome to the secondary. Take a look at our draft recap. Ooh, not the best ratings. Taylor Hurts, 73 hit a dev in the first round, and we are going to slide him to defensive tackle. That could potentially adjust his rating. Hopefully up a point or two. Can we get that to 75, please? We're looking for a 75, and we get a 75. Let's go. Fisher, 72 normal. 70 there for the D tackle. Linder, 4th round corner, 70 with the hidden dev. Not a bad draft, especially for picking last in every round. Year 4 for the Indianapolis Colts as your defending Super Bowl champions. And we started this video really kind of poking fun at the Colts quarterback situation. You know, brought up Andrew Luck, but you think about the Indianapolis Colts, you think about their peak, at least their modern era peak. You think about Peyton Manning. And Peyton Manning did eventually get them a Super Bowl, but he never made that team into a dynasty. So that is what we can chase here. That is what we can achieve here with the younger Marvin Harrison and the better potential quarterback in Anthony Richardson if he can go on and get a 2nd Super Bowl. If he can go on and get a 3rd Super Bowl with the final 2 years remaining in this rebuild. So we have a chance to make this the greatest Colts team that has ever existed. And there has been some really damn good Colts teams over the years. So the offense, we are ready to run it back. I think we have one of the best offensive lines in football. We have the best skill position groups in football. And Anthony Richardson is playing his best football in his entire career. We're going to bump up Hurts to defensive tackle 2, our big 1st round draft pick. Adebaware, you know, his development hasn't been the best, but last year he stood out. He played very well last season, so we're optimistic that he is going to give us a little bit of juice, maybe a little bit more so than what Kwity Paye has been giving us over the last couple years. And holy, what is this thing? Jaquez Dorsey. We just got an X-Factor safety chilling as safety 3. When did that happen? Is this something that I've been just missing? And then you guys are keep saying, C4, please address the red guy that's sitting a couple spots deep there in your safety room? Now, I do look at this and say, what a waste of an X-Factor, because, I mean, this guy's just never going to sniff the field. But, hey, we got a random hidden dev that actually amounted to something. You always... Those are cool. Good for him. Hopefully he can make some big-time plays on depth right there. Special teams and help us get our Super Bowl here back-to-back in year 4. Not the best start to the season here as your defending champions. You're always due for a little bit of regression. We did get a breakout on the defensive line. That's one thing we just haven't really got much of in this rebuild is breakout scenarios. You have Adebaware, who's been on that normal dev since we've been trying to utilize him, maybe even overutilize him as a rookie. But no better time than now to hit that dev. We have a tough matchup here against the 2-1 Buffalo Bills. I will say, and if we lose, I will take a silver lining of getting Adebaware up a dev trade. We lose a close one at 28-22, and Adebaware, that must be the 3rd time he's missed out on a dev trade, man. It's just, I don't know if it's going to happen. At the midway point of trying to defend our Super Bowl championship in year 4, 3-4, tied for last in the division, which... not the best. We have the number 2 offense overall in the NFL, but number 31st defense, which is, I mean, it kind of lines up. We have a 91 overall offense, but 84 overall defense should be better than 31. But let's look at some contracts here. Maybe that's what we need. Maybe we get some guys here that are uncertain about their future. They want to get some money secured, and they'll start playing their best football. That starts with Julius Brents, who's been incredible. Hyped him up, obviously big-time rookie, big-time expectations from that 2023 draft class, and he's been awesome. Josh Downs, another big-time player from that draft class, who has also been awesome. We have Big Q, Quentin Nelson. Let's get him locked up for the remainder of the rebuild. You can definitely see the salary cap is starting to dwindle here a little bit. We're not going to be able to keep everybody. I'll tell you that right now. I'd like to keep Kenny Moore. Just because, if we'll take this 1-year deal. Yeah, that's just one of those guys. One of those guys, maybe we have enough depth at corner that we don't need him. But I kind of want him to stay. Blake Freeland, part of that rookie class as well. Maybe we kick this one down the road a little bit and get a longer contract. So we get him locked in, offensive line. I think Kenneth Murray can be replaceable. Shaq Leonard kind of falls into the Kenny Moore category of like, you know, obviously you're a big time player for this organization. We'll get him, and we should be able to get Kenny Moore over the line. The issue will come if Adebawari, even though the dev trait's not there, if he performs well this season, the interest is there. Hopefully we get a nice little influx of salary cap at the end of the season to be able to sign both him and Kenny Moore. We're on a pretty nice 3-game win streak, but look at who has been going off. We know he's really turned a leaf here in this rebuild. Anthony Richardson in Week 12, 2 passing touchdowns, 2 rushing touchdowns. Week 13, 2 passing touchdowns, another rush. Let's be honest. Those are both on the little bit of the light end of winning Player of the Week awards. But then look, Week 14, 5 touchdowns, another 50 yards on the ground. And these are like divisional games. We beat the Texans, we beat the Jags, and we are making a late push to remind everybody who the Super Bowl champions are. Year 4, we win another AFC South title, our second of the rebuild, going 12-5. It was a real good battle between us and the Texans for the division, but in the end, we got a nice 2-game win streak, finishing with a 34-28 victory over the Giants. Week 18 to secure the division, but I think the real story here is the development of Anthony Richardson. Now, we just got into a spot where it's like I just assumed the playbook was, you know, we compared it to Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray in Madden 23. Like, it almost was like, unless you built a superstar passing offense in terms of you got your tight end, you were 3 deep at wide receiver, you know, Kyler Murray just never was going to sim good. But he would have decent numbers because he would scramble. But that's really what we did with Anthony Richardson here. We had a quarterback that was kind of hitting his ceiling. And even though we had Michael Pittman, even though we had a Josh Downs, we had to go get a Marvin Harrison Jr. who had 1,200 yards and 10 touchdowns. We had to go get a Cordell Freeman, another big-time first-round investment on the offense, and he's been incredible. So I really do think that in Madden 24, don't get so tied in to just accepting your playbook that just is what it is and that's their ceiling. Because you can do things. You can tinker a little bit to get these players to break past the ceiling, and at least their apparent ceiling, because Anthony Richardson is playing a lot better football than what he was the first 2 seasons of this reel. 4,100 yards, 38 touchdowns, and 9 picks, 75. The completion percentage is absurd, but he's cut his interceptions in half, which is like, that's the kind of the growth and development you want to see. Insane season of Jonathan Taylor, 1,900 yards, 21 touchdowns. Rushing numbers down a little bit for Anthony Richardson, but still solid. 400 yards, 7 rushing touchdowns, and I would much rather him be a little bit more prolific as a passer at this point than getting, you know, the 1,000 yards or the double-digit rushing touchdowns, which we've seen him get. I'd rather him, because, you know, him throwing the football is going to help everyone else eat, and for me, it's maintaining Marvin Harrison and Josh Downs and Cordell Freeman, all keeping their superstar dev throughout this rebuild. But a huge year out of Marvin Harrison Jr. there. On the defense, Shaq Leonard and Murray both going over 100 tackles on the season. 10.5 sacks, Buckner. 6.5 sacks for Adebawari, who, I mean, yeah, he's playing well enough that we should give him a contract extension as long as we get that little influx of cash. I still need to sign him and Kenny Moore, ideally, when all said and done. Our rookie, Taylor Hurts, 12 TFLs, 5.5 sacks. He was a hitting dev. It popped as a star, but he's a nice little role player there on the defensive line. And then as far as turnovers, Julius Brents with 3 picks. Haven't really had big-time interception numbers here for the Colts, but we have had good defenses, so it's not all about interceptions and turnovers. You can just force a lot of completion. And this is the 2nd straight year Anthony Richardson falls behind Patrick Mahomes for the MVP. Back-to-back years, Anthony Richardson is the runner-up. We're going to come for it, man. We got 1 more year. That is a goal. That is a target of mine as, you know, again, just Gator fan here. Would love to see Anthony Richardson get MVP. Jonathan Taylor, Offensive Player of the Year. We have Anthony Richardson, runner-up for Quarterback of the Year. Jonathan Taylor, Running Back of the Year. Marvin Harrison coming in 3 for the Wide Receiver of the Year. And the rest of the awards, damn, Julius Brents, runner-up for Defensive Back of the Year. So close, no cigar, always a bridesmaid, never a bride for a lot of awards. We really haven't won a lot of awards this rebuild. We've had a couple offensive and defensive Rookie of the Year, which is nice, but some of the big-time ones, I don't know, I feel like maybe we've been shortchanged a couple times, because usually when you get those awards, it's a free dev trade increase, and we've been very, very close a lot of times. So we kick off Our playoff run, we got to run the gauntlet. Didn't get the first round bye, but we are the defending Super Bowl champions. So we're optimistic we can at least go on a little bit of a run and not be one and done against Justin Herbert and the Chargers here. And we handle business, 28-14. Going to the division round now, taking on Joe Burrow, who finished the year with 1 interception. 32 touchdowns, 1 pick. That's got to be a typo. What? 1 pick? Let's see here. I don't think I've ever seen that. Wow. This is going to be the game that we need Julian Sprents to get 3 picks, get a hat trick. He's due for interception. That's how I interpret that. Big time matchup here. We are 4 overall points better. We are on a different plateau than the Cincinnati Bengals are here in year 4, and we lose a close one, 29-28. Joe Burrow having an all-time season. Low scoring one. It would have been, we would have been playing the Chiefs here. Damn. 3 touchdowns, no picks, Joe Burrow. Anthony Richardson played well, just couldn't keep pace. When all is said and done, we got 1 more year. We can get another Super Bowl, close this thing out. Silver lining is at the end of year 4. We'll pump this point here. Anthony Richardson up to a 99 overall with the gigantic boost. We get a nice +1 throw power, but he is a superstar X Factor. It's looking good, man. How do you stop that guy, man? Him and Jonathan Taylor in the same backfield is... We got escape riders, quick draw, agile extender, anchored extender, gunslinger, and protected. And we're coming for that MVP. We're coming for that Super Bowl year 5. Before free agency starts, we're going to get 1 more opportunity here. We're going to try to keep Kenny Moore. He does have the mentorship tag as well, so he's going to elevate all of our younger corners. Adebaware, we'll give him this 2-year deal. We still have about $20 million available cap. We're going to obviously pick up the 5th-year option for Marvin Harrison, even though we don't really need to. It's not going to go beyond that, but we got $20 million to maybe get 1 key addition, most likely on the defensive side of the ball, on the open market. Looking at our squad, what do we need? What is the missing piece? Well, the bummer is Josh Downs did lose his superstar. We did gain an X factor on Marvin Harrison Jr., so, you know, all right. We broke even there in terms of depth traits at the wide receiver spot. I mean, Freeland is the only non-depth trait, but we don't need. He's been good. He's been solid. Our offensive line, no complaints there. I really think our offense is, you can't really fix that. You're not going to be able to improve it. On the defense, though, maybe we can always look for another pass rusher. We need a linebacker. We could always move Isaiah Simmons and then put Dorsey, the X factor, at strong safety. Even though there's a big drop off in base overall, there is upside there. Let's see what's there. I do think linebacker is a need. Got to be said, through 5 years, free agency is kind of butt cheeks. There is, I don't know. I think there's no real way to win. Either free agency is fun, you have a lot of crazy players, and then you're starting to like flirt with unrealistic territory. But this has just generally been 5 straight free agency periods where there's not even like 1 or 2 good guys, which is kind of realistic. Usually 1 or 2 like top guys. Most of these players are veterans that are, you know, 1-year deal type players, and kind of is what it is. So I think we're going to move Isaiah Simmons potentially to linebacker if we can't draft one in the first round and go with the X factor. All right, so looking at the first round, pick 27. Looks like it was a really strong safety class if we wanted to do that. But like my whole thing is like, well, we got Sean Watkins. This is a guy that I scouted. Just took the flyer because he had the B hit power, B man coverage, B zone coverage. This guy's actually pretty solid. Not a ridiculous athlete, but the letter grades are really nice. I scouted the linebackers because that's where we have a void right now. And the top middle linebacker, this is the top overall one, is a 3rd, 4th round grade, which is pretty rough. And I got Zay Tolbert here. B block shed, B pursuit, B zone coverage. Does he have the athleticism to boot? He kind of does, but even then 4.64 is not the bad. I mean, we're just going to go linebacker here, man. We got to try to fill the void, and there is our first round pick. That's not a stud for hidden dev type player. Damn. All right, looks like we're probably going to be moving Isaiah Simmons to linebacker. Another swing. We got a safety here. He's probably not going to be better than the X Factor guy we got waiting in the wings. But Rashawn Davis, B hit power, C man, B tackle, 6'1", 224. Pretty good athlete as well. No dev trade. I think we'll just wave the white flag here on this 5th draft. It is probably not going to get any better. And for our draft recap, Zay Tolbert, 73 normal dev. Davis, 69, normal dev. We got Zach Holt. And we got a couple 70s to close it out. I just kind of set my board. And another normal dev. Not 72 corner. Normal dev. There's probably no hidden dev players in this draft class. That's the only way that I'm going to cope with this. Hankins, 70 plus, but another normal dev. They can't all be good draft classes. Year 5, trying to get 2 Super Bowls in 3 seasons. Here's how our squad is lining up offensively. It's the tried, tested, and true fellas that have got us to our first Super Bowl. They're ready to run it back with the trio of Anthony Richardson, Jonathan Taylor, and Marvin Harrison Jr. being our 3 of 3 max X factors on the offensive side of the ball. Defensively, had to shuffle around a little bit. Front 4 and the corners all run it back. Linebacker core ever. I'm going to kick Isaiah Simmons in the middle linebacker. That's going to allow Dorsey. Let's ignore the overall of 72. And let's just say, hey, there's another X factor on the defensive side of the ball. Hopefully he can thrive in that role. But, you know, I do like the fact that we got success here in this rebuild, and we haven't necessarily built a super team. I don't think at any point we've been above a 90 overall for a team. So it's not like, you know, Madden 24, we're starting the year out like you're not winning Super Bowls unless you have that S-tier, perfect role super team, untouchable offense, untouchable defense. You could just have a pretty decent team and get a nice little run there and win a Super Bowl. Hopefully our squad here can finish this thing off with 2 trophies. Something Peyton Manning never did. And year 5, a 3rd divisional title, 13-4. We break that 90 team overall threshold with a gigantic season finale, 35-7. Anthony Richardson, 3 touchdowns, 4 total on. I will say our passing overall yardage is down. We're getting something that was a little bit more similar to year 1 and year 2, just 207. Like we've had years where we have like average 40 yards more passing a game. I don't know necessarily why that is the case, but it also looks like Jonathan Taylor ran the football a lot this season as the leading rusher in the NFL. So maybe that's a little bit of what is going on. Anthony Richardson, 3,500 yards, 27 touchdowns, 6 picks, 550 and 8 as a rusher. So, like, you know, decent, still a pretty good year. Definitely won't be pushing for the MVP, but not bad. You know, it's kind of somewhat in the bubble and area code of what he's done for us in this rebuild. Maybe a little bit on the lower end. But again, Jonathan Taylor, I'll say it again, can't imagine doing a Colts rebuild right now where I'm not trying to force a storyline or force something where you don't have Jonathan Taylor. We're not good if we don't have Jonathan Taylor in this team. He has been absolutely incredible. Receiving numbers, not the best here. Josh Downs did have 11 touchdowns. Marvin Harrison Jr., no one really was overly prolific here this season. Defensively, Isaiah Simmons thriving in his switch to middle linebacker, something that we're going to keep a little reminder on when we get ready to start our Arizona Cardinals Madden 24 franchise mode. What a sim season. I mean, look, we're going to be playing those games, but 149 tackles, 7 TFLs, 4 interceptions. Shaq Leonard went over 117 sacks for the ageless wonder DeForest Buckner, who, much like Jonathan Taylor, like when we were thinking about fire selling some of these guys, we got rid of Grover Stewart. Thought maybe we get rid of Buckner. He has been awesome. He has been very good. 7 sacks, Jalen Phillips, 5 for Taylor Hurts, 3.5%. Just could never really find a consistent pass rush here in this rebuild. Jacquez Dorsey, the superstar safety, gets 3 picks, second on the team in his first year up as a starter. Already jumped up almost 5-6 overall points in a season. Maybe we should have made this move a little bit sooner. Maybe we would have had that opportunity of getting 3 Super Bowls. Look at the yearly awards. Anthony Patterson, the stud that the Commanders drafted like year 2, gets himself a second MVP, I believe. Anthony Richardson just makes the short list. Jonathan Taylor, Offensive Player of the Year again. Jonathan Taylor, Running Back of the Year. We have no other award winners. That's fine, though, because we don't need anything right now at this point. It would have been cool to maybe get that MVP trophy for Anthony Richardson, but what I think is more important for him is passing Peyton Manning and going down as the most successful quarterback in Indianapolis Colts history. And to do that, we're going to have to go on and win a second Super Bowl. Now, first are the 8-9 below 500 New York Jets that aren't particularly good at anything. Maybe that makes them a dangerous opponent, if we're going to try to phrase this one somewhat realistically. And it was closer than expected. 31-28 we're winning, and we're able to go to the AFC Championship game against the Chargers. And in this matchup, DeForest Buckner, who's been maybe game ball on either side. Him and Jonathan Taylor. He gets Defensive Player of the Week on a 3-sack performance. Justin Herbert has a whole lot of momentum, though, getting AFC Offensive Player of the Week. This should be a very good matchup between the Colts and the Chargers. Not a crazy year to Justin Herbert. 36 touchdowns to 7 picks. Well, I mean, crazy in comparison to Joe Burrow just having 1 interception last season. But they get a top 10 offense there in LA. They're the #1 passing defense. Who do they have? I almost need to like sneak a little peek here. That's a pretty nice Charger, but who do they have to have that kind of defense? Look like Asante Samuel, potentially. So you got Herbert, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, wide receiver room not the best. Offensive line, Rashawn Slater's 93. Zion Johnson's still there on the defense. They've drafted pretty well. Joey Bosa's still doing his thing, 94 X Factor. We got J.C. Jackson, Asante Samuel. They really have just kept their secondary in place. They got a superstar safety here in Felix Bryan. They still have old man Derwin James. All right. Makes sense. They have a pretty good secondary, but you know what? We have a pretty good offense, and I don't see someone there that is stopping Anthony Richardson, the dual threat ability. I don't see anybody there that really wants to come tackle Jonathan Taylor. I don't see anybody there that can cover the trio of Josh Downs, Michael Pittman, and Marvin Harrison Jr., and it is not really close at all. AFC Championship game, 35-14. The Colts handle the Chargers in a game where Thomas gets, kind of just the sympathy. That's not a particularly a good performance, but Jonathan Taylor, 150 total yards, 2 total touchdowns, too much for the Chargers, and it sets up a Year 5 Super Bowl matchup between the Colts and honestly, since we've done this rebuild, the best team that I've been seeing from afar in the NFC has been the Washington Commanders. They drafted our very first year like an 85 X Factor quarterback right away, solved their issues, moved on from Sam Howell immediately. This Anthony Patterson guy has been very good. They're 15-2. This is the battle of the 2 best teams, and it's a chance for us to make history and to be the only Colts team, the only quarterback, the only coach to get 2. Let's do it. See if we can inspire these guys here a little bit. We already have our ring. No stranger to the magnitude and the atmosphere of the Super Bowl. How does this help? It's significant, right? Absolutely significant. We get 10 staff points. Don't need those at all. Not going to be utilized. And then probably should have picked the other option. But this is going to be a good game. And I'm telling you right now, if I get an opportunity to hop on the sticks and do something stupid with Anthony Richardson, we're going to do it. Let's go. We are in Tampa Bay. And there's this monster staring at an alien. I'm taking an alien. And look at that guy, man. He's built like... No way. Guy's built like the hefty lefty. That is going to somehow compete with a ridiculous, never-before-seen specimen like Anthony Richardson. We get the first strike here of the Super Bowl, 7-zip. Defense playing pretty well. Washington able to get a touchdown. We respond with an instant tutty. Defense holds into a field goal. We get a 2-minute drill here. Would love to be able to hop in on the sticks. Give me something favorable. 4th down. We're just going to kick it. Whoa, okay, we're down here a little bit. Here we go. 3rd down.
A 3rd down situation coming up in the third quarter. And
3rd and 3.
Hoping to turn that 3rd down into 4th.
Not gonna lie, there's always the opportunity to just tuck it in.
Richardson on 3rd and short. Flushed out.
Give me my blocks. Give me my blocks.
Here's Richardson to throw. Eluding the pressure right.
Run him over.
You
can bring out the whole ocean. Nothing is stopping Anthony Richardson on the goal line like that. That's a touchdown we need. Commanders get the instant tutty.
On 3rd down, here's Richardson.
Oh, Harrison runs away. That's just so your top corner on Michael Pittman. But we got a punt return here. 2:34 to go win the game.
He's got his tight end on the corner route. It's complete. Richardson.
Get a separation. They just make the safe catch. Quad.
2nd down.
Get our blocks. What a tackle.
Flush to his right. And he'll protect himself at the end here as he winds up getting pretty decent yardage.
I'm just tucking around with Anthony Richardson.
Now Richardson.
The top block right there. Look at that. Easy.
Forced out. And he's across for the touchdown. And it's likely the game winner here in the closing stage.
He's that dude. But this has been a truly spectacular effort by the Indianapolis Colts. This has been a team in a sim series where I just never knew if Anthony Richardson was going to be able to put it together. There's been some outlier years, but there's also been some badass play from him, and full credit to him. Hoist that Super Bowl Let's go finish this one out, see how everyone did throughout this 5 years. But 2 Super Bowl wins. You'll love to see it. Anthony Richardson finishes this rebuild with 19,000 yards passing, 143 touchdowns to 52 picks, 70% completion percentage in his career. He also threw in with 25, we're on that up 2,600 rushing yards, 42 touchdowns. So really, really nice that this playbook, this whole sim, did utilize Anthony Richardson as a scrambler. That hasn't always been the case in previous Maddens. Jonathan Taylor probably still gets the MVP of this rebuild. He's at 12,000 rushing yards, 126 touchdowns, and no real signs of slowing down. Like, if you would have played the entirety of the career of Jonathan Taylor, he might be pushing, you know, Emmitt Smith and those guys for the top all-time yards, top all-time touchdowns. The pace that he has set has been incredible. We got 6,500 yards, 32 touchdowns for Michael Pittman, 4,500 yards, 37 tutties for Josh Downs, and an Offensive Rookie of the Year. 3,900 yards, 31 touchdowns for Marvin Harrison Jr., and an Offensive Rookie of the Year that he didn't win. No, he didn't. He was a runner-up. He was a runner-up that year. Take that back. Freeman was solid there as well, but I mean, because we never really had a truly prolific passing offense, these numbers are not going to look too godly. On the defensive side, Shaq Leonard finishes with over 1,000 total tackles, 56 TFLs, 22 picks. We got 111 sacks, 158 TFLs for DeForest Buckner, who's been absolutely incredible. Best player of this rebuild on the defensive side of the ball. 25 picks, Kenny Moore, 22 Shaq Leonard, 15 from Isaiah Simmons, 12 from Julius Brents, who is really, really solid and consistent throughout. There we go, baby. Our first Madden 24 rebuild in the books. Get the old check mark right next to it. Getting Super Bowl glory with the Indianapolis Colts. It's the beginning of the Madden 24 season. So, as always, fellas, we look for likes. We look for like goals. I didn't really want to start this one with a like goal because that is a little bit cheesy. But 1,000 likes would be awesome on this video. Comment what team you want to see next. Who is next up on the docket for our Madden 24 rebuilds? I hope you guys, if it is your first time stopping by, you hit that subscribe button, because the Madden 24 train's about to leave the station. You want to hop on. We always have the lofty goals. We'd love to hit 200,000. We'd love to have a big year. Madden feels good this year. I would love to have a big year. I'd like the channel to correlate with that. And I appreciate each and every one of you guys for clicking on the video. Thank you very much for watching. And until next time, it's your boy C4 saying peace out. Love ya. Have a good one.